Welcome to the From the Other Side live show podcast. The live show will begin in 2 minutes. Grab a snack and a drink and sit down to watch another one of our great live shows. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and share the live show video link. Enjoy the show. The live show will begin in 1 minute. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and share the live show video link. Please like and leave a comment and share this video.
Hello everybody, welcome to Shadow of Influence, NGOs, media bias and the political manipulation across borders tonight. And tonight's show, we'll look at USAID's role and explore how the political landscapes of Hungary, Georgia, Ukraine, Belarus and Cuba have been influenced by what some call orchestrated efforts backed by Western NGOs with significant USAID funding. Are these colour revolutions or genuine movements for change? We will also delve into the media outlets like Politico shape political narratives in the US, particularly during election times. How does this affect perception and policy of the public? And we will uncover the complex interplay of power, funding and the media that defines modern political manipulation across borders. So stay tuned as we pull back the curtain on celebrity involvement in political campaigns, the controversial funding of journalists and media outlets, the impact of freezing foreign aid on opposition movements, and secret projects like the Cuban Twitter aimed at stirring unrest. And later on the show, we'll have Jason from the Isle of Man joining us, Andrew from Belarus, and Drew from the UK. Jason, as you may have seen, visited us Minsk last year with his friend William, and he looks like he'll be back around August this year. Please like the video to show your support, share the link to spread the word, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and stay updated with our latest deep dives into global politics. And lastly, we will again have the phone lines up later in the show, so you can call one of our numbers in the USA, UK and Australia. So with that, let's get started. Oh. Hey, how are you, Michael?
Oh, it's just another beautiful Sunday. I think today it was almost negative 10 degrees Celsius.
Is that all?
So
All the people walking around in bikinis and that, all the women?
it's a bit nippy, but it hasn't been as humid. So I mean, like it's been like a dry cold. So I don't think it was as cold as it felt like right after it got done raining earlier, like last week. So everything's good.
Good. What have you been up to since the last show?
Oh, let me see. Did I do anything interesting? I don't think so. I mean, like, no, not at all.
Okay, so I made a quick 17-minute video on this USAID and NGOs. Of course, as we were discussing today, you could probably make one for 3 or 4 days long with all the information coming out. So this is just short. And then after that, we will discuss it and we'll get other people coming in on Zoom with us. And
Justice for big balls.
yes. And then we'll also have the chat up on the screen up here, so in Rumble. So if you chat, we'll see that and answer those. And as I said, we'll have phones and hopefully someone will call in tonight. So let's watch the video. I'll just get that organised. Anything else you want to say while I'm doing this?
Can I say justice for big balls again?
Who's that?
Big balls is he was like
Shadow.
what did they say he was? Like 19 years old, but he was working for the Doge thing, and then they
That guy. Yeah.
yeah, they found his old profiles, and
And they want him back on, don't they?
well, everybody wants him back, but I don't know. It's interesting to see everybody's complaining about how when they started to get investigated for those 15-minute interviews where you have to state, like, why are you here? What are you doing? Why shouldn't we fire you? Mm-hmm. And they're complaining about how, there's 19, 20, 21-year-olds and stuff that are doing these interviews, and my transgender colleagues aren't safe, and blah blah blah. And well, Big Balls was one of those guys, and he posted some not nice things online, and it was an anonymous account that he had deleted, and they went back and they traced it and doxed him, and then they decided to get rid of him, and then everybody complained and wanted him back, and it just turned into a giant shit show. But I don't know. The main point is that they showed him on CNN. They started talking about it, and then Big Balls is an offensive nickname according to CNN. But these are the same people that show you, an interracial gay couple kissing each other first thing as soon as the ball drops on New Year's Eve, and talk about dropping acid with who's that fucking DJ? The Major Lazer guy, fucking Diplo. There we go. So it's just all hypocrisy and justice for big balls.
All right.
I don't really know what else to say. But, I mean, the thing is if you can't explain how your job is useful in 15 minutes, you probably shouldn't be doing it. I saw a plumber say that, he only needs 5 seconds to ask you, do you enjoy shitting on the floor or should I fix your toilet? So, I mean, if you're in a government position, you should probably be able to explain in, I don't know, probably 30 seconds what your job is. So.
Hang on, I'll just Andrew's just asking if there's a code, and
he said he got the code, but maybe he did not.
give me a second. There is a passcode, but I didn't think there was a passcode on it. Try that. Okay, let's watch the video, or shall we wait for him to get on? Hang on. So bore people.
May as well start the video and bring him on.
Let's get it started. Okay, here we go, people. 17 minutes and we'll be back.
Shadow of influence, NGOs, media bias, and political manipulation across borders. The political landscapes of Hungary, Georgia, Ukraine, Belarus, Cuba, and Russia have been significantly shaped by what some describe as orchestrated efforts by Western-backed NGOs to foster color revolutions or similar movements. Meanwhile, in the United States, the media landscape, particularly through entities like Politico, has faced scrutiny for its role in political narratives, especially around election times. The intricate web of political influence, funding, and media manipulation has come under the microscope, revealing a complex interplay of power, money, and policy. The culprits: USA, United States Agency for International Development, known for its democracy-strengthening initiatives, USA has been accused of manipulating political landscapes, not only in Eastern Europe and Latin America, but also in Russia. Chelsea Clinton and USAID funding. Recent posts on X, formerly Twitter, have highlighted allegations that USA funneled 80 Georgia election interference. In 2025, allegations surfaced that USA was involved in influencing Georgia's electoral process through funding opposition movements, manipulating elections, and backing civil unrest. Celebrity endorsements for Kyiv. USAID has been implicated in paying celebrities to visit and support Kyiv, with the following payments noted: Angelina Jolie, 20. Massive journalist funding. USAID was funding over 6,200 journalists across 707 media outlets and 200.
Okay, so if you had evidence, and presumably given your security services, your intel services, you would, that NATO, the US, CIA, the West, did this, why wouldn't you present it and win a propaganda victory?
В войне пропаганды очень сложно победить.
Well, it's very difficult, to achieve a propaganda victory because the US controls all the global media. And as far as many European media are concerned, the end beneficiary in many cases are American funds, foundations. So, getting mired in that, well, this is one avenue to pursue, but it can turn out to be very expensive, and moreover, we might reveal our own sources of information without securing the end result. The whole world understands what happened, and even the American analysts speak about that publicly.
Politico subscriptions. Elon Musk's recent investigations have shed light on how federal agencies, including USA, have been purchasing expensive subscriptions from media like Politico. These subscriptions for pro versions of newsletters cost between $3,000 to $24,000 each, with the Climate Crisis Bureau at USAID notably spending on these high-priced subscriptions. This expenditure raises questions about the necessity of such news services for an agency focused on global aid, suggesting a possible quid pro quo where media narratives align with agency agendas. This spending on Politico, according to usaspending.gov, over the past 9 years, federal agencies have spent a staggering $8.2 million on Politico publications. This investment in what's ostensibly pro-insights suggests a significant integration of government agencies with media narratives, USAID or Soros aid. How U.S. tax dollars fund chaos worldwide. Soros's vast NGO network has spent over $20 billion since 2000 on radical liberal causes across the world. Tens of millions or even billions of U.S. taxpayer dollars were funneled through USAID, observers suspect. Soros-linked influence. The Soros-linked East-West Management Institute received over $60 million from USAID to influence foreign affairs in Georgia, Uganda, Albania, and Serbia. Ukraine's Anti-Corruption Action Center, backed by Soros. This center began receiving USAID grants in 2014, the same year the US-backed Euromaidan coup ousted elected President Viktor Yanukovych with neo-Nazi support. Over $1 million has been funneled by USAID to the center. Bangladesh coup attempt. In August 2024, a coup against Bangladeshi PM Sheikh Hasina was allegedly fomented by USAID, IRI, and Soros-linked groups. Her successor, Muhammad Yunus, is a known Clinton and Soros ally. According to the Gray Zone, U.S. taxpayer money-funded rappers, transgender activists, and LGBT initiatives to create a power shift. Libya, USA, and NGOs were the hidden hand behind Libya's destruction. For over 4 decades, Libya thrived under Gaddafi, but in 2011, the US, NATO, and Western-backed NGOs engineered an uprising, leading to his overthrow and Libya's descent into chaos. USA and its affiliated organizations played a critical role in financing, legitimizing, and facilitating the regime change. Hungary's Orbán, Soros, and USAID have long sought to unseat Hungarian PM Viktor Orbán, who has actively opposed the globalist billionaire since 2017. During the 2022 elections, the Soros-linked NGO Action for Democracy funneled $7.6 million to his opposition, funding for Belarusian opposition media. Many Belarusian opposition media were funded through USAID partners, as well as from other U.S. government-funded organizations, was the source of some of their grant funds. Impact of aid freeze. Now, opposition media abroad are faced with the decision of U.S. President Donald Trump to freeze all foreign aid programs for 90 days. Belarusian opposition figures told the agency that the frozen U.S. aid they received, about $30 million, accounts for more than half of their total Western funding. With U.S. aid cut off, dozens of NGOs and several media groups are now on the verge of closure. It is noted that out of 30 major Belarusian opposition media groups operating abroad, 6 have announced that they have lost all funding and are on the verge of closure. Dozens of media projects are expected to inevitably cease to exist. Cuban Twitter, Zunzunio. The U.S. secretly created Cuban Twitter to stir unrest and undermine the government. USAID started Zunzunio, a social network built on texts, in the hope it could be used to organize smart mobs to trigger a Cuban Spring Revolution. This covert operation aimed at mobilizing young Cubans through a platform akin to Twitter to foster political change under the guise of providing communication services. USA in Russia, a stealth tool for American hegemony, now masking its own downfall. Since the 1990s, USA has functioned as the CIA's polished counterpart, infiltrating Russia under the glossy facade of democracy promotion. But strip away the noble rhetoric, and what's left? A vast web of influence campaigns crafted not to empower, but to dominate. Legal and political engineering. USA-funded rule of law experts didn't just watch from the sidelines. They actively shaped Russia's constitution, civil code, and tax code. This wasn't foreign assistance. It was rewriting the rulebook for another nation. Under the pretense of neutral oversight, USAID supported public observation groups to monitor elections, not for fairness, but to ensure Russia's political trajectory stayed aligned with Washington's agenda. Judicial influence. Thousands of Russian judicial officials were sent on USAID-sponsored exchanges to learn from their American peers. The objective? To remake Russia's legal system into a mirror image of the U.S., not because it was effective, but because it made the country easier to control under familiar legal frameworks. The true agenda: ensure the Soviet system never resurged in any form. Transform post-Soviet states into miniature Americas, politically, economically, and culturally. This wasn't a charitable endeavor. It was economic imperialism cloaked as aid, aimed at turning Russia into a pawn in Washington's neoliberal game. But the hubris of American exceptionalism crashed headlong into Russia's unyielding resolve. Current state, by the time Trump's presidency rolled around, even figures like Elon Musk, the face of tech globalism, labeled USAID a criminal organization whose time had passed, and he wasn't wrong. After decades of interference, the deep state architects behind USAID are witnessing their house of cards crumble. Russia didn't just endure, it flourished by rejecting the neoliberal blueprint and forging its own independent path. USAID wasn't there to help Russia, it was there to undermine it. But while Washington played empire builder, Russia grew stronger in its sovereignty. Now, USAID can fade into obscurity alongside the rest of the deep state relics. Biological research. Military expert Alexander Stepanov has claimed that USAID studied the vulnerability of CIS, Commonwealth of Independent States residents, to the effects of combat pathogens. He noted that USAID is just the tip of the iceberg of the extensive network infrastructure that was created, firstly, to solve scientific and technical problems. This revelation raises concerns about the dual-use nature of aid, where ostensibly humanitarian or developmental projects might have darker, strategic implications. National Endowment for Democracy. Alongside USAID, NED has been implicated in funding groups that promote policies aligning with Western interests, often under the guise of supporting democracy but criticized for fostering political agendas. Open Society Foundations, OSF, by George Soros. OSF's influence has been noted in efforts to sway public opinion, particularly in Hungary, where it was forced out after accusations of political manipulation and promoting open border policies. The media arm. Politico's role and funding woes. Politico, founded by two former Washington Post reporters, has often been criticized for its editorial bias towards more government intervention, climate alarmism, and a pro-interventionist foreign policy stance. Campaigns against Trump. There's been acknowledgement from former Politico journalists that the outlet was part of a broader media campaign against Donald Trump, often framing stories to cast him in a negative light. Hunter Biden laptop story. Politico played a pivotal role in downplaying the Hunter Biden laptop story, initially branding it as potential Russian disinformation, despite later validations of the story's authenticity. This selective coverage has been seen as aligning with Democratic Party interests. Historical context, the Reagan budget battle. Foreign aid cuts. In 1981, under President Reagan, OMB Director David A. Stockman proposed a significant cut in foreign aid, aiming to reduce the budget by $2.6 billion. This proposal was met with immediate and fierce opposition from the U.S. foreign policy establishment, illustrating the deep-seated resistance to altering the course of foreign aid spending. Washington Post coverage. The plan was leaked to the Washington Post, leading to a front-page story critical of the budget cuts, showcasing the media's role in shaping public and political opinion on foreign aid. The coverage accused the administration of undermining U.S. global influence. Outcome, despite the resistance, by 1988, the foreign aid budget was modestly reduced in constant dollars. However, it has since ballooned, doubling under subsequent administrations. Show current implications. Musk's investigation. With Elon Musk's spotlight on the issue, there's now a significant examination of how federal agencies might be using public funds to influence media narratives through subscriptions to outlets like Politico, suggesting a cycle of mutual benefit between agency policy and media coverage. Trump's opportunity. The narrative suggests that if Trump focuses on an America First national security policy, emphasizing homeland defense over global interventions, significant savings and a reduction in bureaucratic overreach could be achieved. Humanitarian Help Fund, proposing a shift of humanitarian efforts to philanthropy, could challenge the current system where aid is intertwined with geopolitical strategy. This could involve creating a fund where billionaires are encouraged to donate, potentially redefining the role of government in international aid. Deep dive into historical data. Reagan's foreign policy. During Reagan's tenure, despite the initial cuts, the bureaucratic pushback was evident. Secretary of State Alexander Haig's dramatic opposition to budget cuts, likening them to forcing Reagan to shove his head straight into a pencil sharpener, underscored the tension between fiscal conservatism and the entrenched foreign policy establishment. Media influence. The Washington Post's coverage of the Reagan budget proposal in 1981 not only highlighted the media's influence in shaping policy debate, but also its capacity to serve as a mouthpiece for certain political interests, a trend that arguably continues with modern outlets like Politico. Conclusion: this complex narrative of influence, funding, and media manipulation illustrates a significant challenge to democratic processes, both domestically and abroad. The intertwining of NGOs, media narratives, and political agendas paints a picture of a system where information, policy, and power are deeply interlinked. The revelations from Musk's investigations, the covert operations like Zunzunio in Cuba, the extensive yet ultimately futile efforts in Russia by USAID, and the potential biological research into combat pathogens suggest that the battle for narrative control, political influence, and strategic advantage is as old as American foreign policy itself. The implications for media integrity, political independence, and the ethical use of foreign aid are profound, inviting a reevaluation of how such systems operate and the role of media in democracy. Whether this leads to a genuine shift in policy or merely another chapter in the saga of political maneuvering remains to be seen.
Well, there you go. Hey. And on the screen now we've got Andrew on the left and Drew. So Andrew's in Belarus and Drew's in the UK. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Are you doing a Kadyrov impersonation with that hood and that beard?
And Andrew's and sorry, Michael.
I think we're quite delayed here.
Yeah, Michael said that it was like having a wizard join us.
I know. I heard him.
Oh, you could hear us talking. Okay, guys.
Yeah,
thanks.
It looks like the Kadyrov video on the Tesla truck where he's wearing that hood with the chains.
Okay. Okay. First question. How does the financial instability policy of media outlets like Politico affect journalistic integrity and independence? So let's start around the things. So we'll start off with Andrew first.
I'll pass.
Drew?
Sorry, mate. What are you asking?
How does the financial instability policy of media outlets like Politico affect journalistic integrity and independence?
Right. Well, yeah, of course it completely undermines it. I mean, it's little more than a propaganda outfit.
Yep. Michael?
Well, I mean, it literally says in the question, journalistic integrity.
And independence.
Yeah, and independence. So if you're not being honest and you're not actually independent, then I don't think that anything in that question is being covered by the financial stuff that's flowing through there.
Okay.
So
Okay. What role did Politico's coverage of the Hunter Biden laptop story play in shaping public perceptions, and how does this reflect on media bias? We'll start off with Michael. We'll start off with Andrew again.
Very big role when you say that it's nonsense and it's not true and it didn't exist. Then all of a sudden you got like half the country going, "Oh, you guys are just making this up," and You can't understate how giant of a role it is. And everyone conspired to hide this.
Drew?
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, had it been reported accurately, Biden would have definitely lost. You know, I mean, he wouldn't have won. I mean, there are those that would question the legitimacy of him winning in the first place. But yeah, certainly, if that had been reported properly, Biden would have been done.
I think it was like 30% of undecideds said they wouldn't have voted for Biden if they knew about it.
Yeah.
Michael?
So yeah, I mean, it completely steered the direction of the USA for the last 4 years, during which time, you know, Gaza has been pounded to rubble, and we've got into a sort of teetering on the edge of World War III situation. So yeah,
It
couldn't be more profound.
It just hasn't exploded, luckily.
Yeah.
Well, I think the problem with American politics is it doesn't matter what side you're on. If you're extremely on one side, they can tell you whatever you want, and you're not going to listen to it because you're going to say that it's not true. I mean, with the whole laptop thing, I mean, we saw him, you know, smoking crack in a bathtub and dicking around with hookers and doing all sorts of dumb shit, and they still didn't want to listen to, this guy raises this kind of son, and that's who you want to vote for. Cool.
Cocaine in the White House how many times?
Well, some people were saying that might have been Kamala's cocaine, but...
And it's just right after Hunter Biden was there. What a coincidence.
Well, I'm sure Kamala probably also does her fair share of cocaine.
I'm sure a lot of them do. But I think they got to pump Joe Biden full of amphetamines just to get him on television or whatever. I mean, same with him defecating in his pants. What do you think happens when you have a non-skilled doctor in charge of his health stuff? Instead of having me, who would prevent that, you pump him full of amphetamines, he's going to shit his pants.
Well,
you have to give him loperamide also to prevent that.
You give him enough tapioca pudding and put some...
Give him some opioid, peripheral opioid, and now he's not crapping his pants.
Well, you don't see what they're doing off camera, though. He might be chasing around some kids to smell and maybe touch his leg hairs, and so you have no idea.
Yeah. Can Politico's financial dependency on certain donors or political leanings be seen as turning it into the arm of the Democrat Party media?
100%.
Drew?
Yeah, I mean, it's a propaganda operation, isn't it?
Well, I think when you see that a lot of that money is going towards, I was reading about one of the places that it went to was like $23 or $27 million, something like that, to go to rehabilitating disabled children in Israel. Why do you need $23 million for that? And it was bragging about how, it's helping hundreds of kids. Well, how many kids could you help if you had $23 million in America with a center like that?
At least that sounds somewhat legitimate. You know, helping people that are disabled. Who knows? Maybe they got in a car accident, got a spinal trauma. Who knows?
Well, sure, but
money that's going towards like gender studies educations in Pakistan. Like, what's going on there?
Well, yeah, but the point is that in America we don't pay for, we don't have USAID aiding the U.S. for medical stuff. So why is USAID aiding Israel, and why do they have all their healthcare and stuff paid for, and we don't?
You got to do America first.
All right, don't say that. That's racist.
Yeah.
Oh well, that's kind of ironic considering that they claimed that all foreign aid was cut when Trump was elected, except to Israel. That wasn't cut.
And Jordan and Egypt.
Oh, okay.
And now Ukraine, right?
Yeah, Ukraine's back. So how do the allegations of USAID providing $84 million to Chelsea Clinton impact perceptions of foreign aid transparency? And why do you think they gave that to her? Andrew?
Who are you asking?
Andrew. We'll go around the table, Andrew.
Why they gave it to her? Possibly just money laundering.
Drew?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't looked into the numbers on that one particularly closely, but, you know, it kind of stinks when the daughter of a former cabinet member is receiving, you know, mind-boggling sums of money.
I think they give it to her because she's really ugly.
Sold for millions.
Wait, what?
Like, I think they painted like a Ukraine flag a couple years ago, and they sold it for like $20 million.
Oh yeah, that's not money laundering. That's
No. That was like Hunter Biden's paintings.
Well, I think it's paintings. Do you think he even did those, or
who knows?
I just paid someone $20 to do it.
Smoke a bunch of crack and make some paintings.
Who knows? Maybe he had some fun just painting away.
Maybe.
Pay a hooker to do it while you smoke crack and watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they did it together naked, and then they're like doing other stuff at the same time. And maybe they made like a whole collection of paintings, and we only get to see those ones.
Maybe the videos are on his laptop.
Maybe.
See, I think they give all that money to Clinton's daughter because she's really ugly, and they feel bad for her, and they're trying to get her to fix her face, but she's just not paying attention.
Yeah.
Maybe they should just start over.
Make a new one.
She galloped off and spent it all on hay.
Well, they can make a new Clinton. Hillary might be too old, but Bill has no qualms about shooting his load into wherever.
Well, I mean, that actually kind of borders on something that scares me, is that we don't really need a man and a woman, a sperm and an egg anymore. I think we either can already, or very soon we will be able to just take any cell from anybody, turn it into a sperm or an egg, and combine them. That's going to cause some real big issues, because you already have the two genders not really getting along too well. But you get rid of the need to have each other to have kids, it's not going to be good.
Yeah, it'll work out for Japan and Korea. I mean, they really fucking hate each other there.
Just to interrupt the Irish partisans on the Rumble, he said, evening everyone. He said, crazy that the MSM calling at those affected by nuking USAID as independent media. If you're funded by the US government, you are not independent. That's true.
Yeah, it's like they put all that, this is a like Russian state media channel on YouTube or Instagram or whatever, but they don't do it for if it's United States funded.
No.
Now they just go off the location.
Yeah, another thing I noticed is on YouTube, if the medical doctor has a license in like America or the UK, it says this is a US licensed physician or whatever. How come it doesn't count for Russia or other countries?
Well, and how often are those studies like published in an Indian medical journal or a Chinese medical journal or something? And you know, nobody in Western medicine has even read it. So
actually, things are often published in English, so I actually help some people out here.
But I mean, the fact that they put all these studies and stuff into, because they have to be published before you go ahead and start saying them. So they publish them in places that you wouldn't naturally look.
Yeah, but scientists do often translate the stuff to English to publish it.
Well, yeah, but I mean that they make it not easily accessible. They try to publish stuff in what's essentially like a tabloid for medical news. So
the problem with the medical journals is they get to choose which studies are accepted. So you got 100 studies, 70 of them say that smoking cigarettes is the best thing for you, and 30 of them say smoking cigarettes gives you cancer. They can choose 30 that say it gives you cancer and go, hey, it's, you look at that and you're like, all the studies say that cigarettes give you cancer, but you don't know that the other 70% didn't say that. I'm not trying to say cigarettes are great for you and they don't give you cancer.
Well, that's the same as that climate change, isn't it? They've got, they only take a small amount saying that it's man-made.
Well, I think another perfect example is the whole transgender thing. How they tried to say that getting transgender reaffirming surgery, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, whatever their bullshit words are for chopping your dick off, that makes you happier, and that makes it that way you're comfortable in your own body. But then at the same time, you look at the suicide rates for people that are transgender, and how often they want to switch back, and how they regret their decisions and stuff, and they'll report on all the stuff that makes it seem like you should chop your dick off, but not what happens afterwards.
Did you guys know that Belarus was the first Soviet republic that did transgender surgery or treatments? I can't remember which of the two it was.
I did not know that.
Yep, and there are some transgenders here. I've seen one of them in a hospital.
What did that look like?
I was standing kind of far away, and I thought it was a girl. So I'm referring to it as a she. And then one of my classmates says,
But it may or may not be?
It was a guy.
Oh, so wait. Hold on. It was born as a man. It's a man, yeah?
I was standing far away because we were in an infectious disease hospital, and I think this is a little bit stupid that we're going around people with unknown infectious diseases just to stare at them. It's like, they look like normal people. Why do we need to stare at them? We don't learn anything by, oh, wow, this looks like a human right here. Wow, they have an unknown disease. We're going to learn a lot by staring at them. So I stood back real far. One of my classmates whispers to me, Andrew, it's a guy. And I'm like, oh, sorry. And I asked the guy or the girl, whatever it is. I can't remember what I said. Are you taking any hormones to alter your gender? And the guy goes, no. And I'm like, do you have a penis? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, has anyone seen? And they're like, but I looked closer and I did see some facial hair. Like at first I thought, the girl's just unlucky. She's got like a little bit of facial hair growing. Then I'm like, yeah, this is a guy.
You think he shaves or does he wax it?
I think he's taking estrogen and did something like maybe shaved all the facial hair or did laser for most of it, and then takes estrogen and then it retards the growth of the facial hair. Because it was, the skin was a little too smooth, facial hair very, very thin. There were breasts.
Well, it's an unfortunate situation because I don't think they're allowed to do that here anymore, are they?
No, they are. It's just very uncommon.
Interesting.
Okay.
For all the liberals that hate Belarus.
Well, I know everybody says that they, in Russia and Belarus, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that. They just want you to do it in your home. It's
not illegal to be gay. It's illegal to do LGBT propaganda.
Right. Like, you shouldn't walk through the park and see two dudes holding hands and kissing. Actually, my girlfriend was over the other night, and we were smoking a cigarette on my balcony, and we were, like, staring out the window, and then she's, like, looking down in the parking lot, and she's like, is that two dudes? And then she starts, like making noises, and then she starts laughing, because, two dudes were kissing each other in the parking lot, and then after she started like heckling them with noises, like they started like running away.
I saw two dudes dressed like weirdos. One was wearing high heels and weird black, like half man, half girl clothes. And I was like, what the hell? I took a video of them. It was weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I don't know. That's the first time that like, I've seen, like, girls kiss each other here, but, I don't know, girls are just kind of gay in general. Girls are weird, man.
But a lot of girls here will hold hands even if they're not lesbians.
Well, yeah, they'll hold hands, they'll kiss each other, they'll touch each other's titties and stuff, they'll get naked in front of each other.
They love doing that for Instagram videos. Like, when they're 18, they record Instagram videos, like, kissing their friends to try to get attention.
Well, yeah, well, that's the thing, is it's all about attention. I think the real question is how much attention does somebody want and how far are they willing to go to get it? And then obviously I think those two dudes that my girlfriend saw kissing in the parking lot the other day, they did not want the attention because they quickly ran away. So they're actually gay.
That's good that they don't want attention.
Yeah. Okay, did you know USAID was kicked out of here in 2021?
Great.
Oh, is that why we don't have any dumb stuff here anymore?
Yeah, after the 2020 attempted color revolution, which gets onto, you probably saw Georgia's election interference by USAID. They gave millions of dollars, $26 million for that. So can the color revolutions in Eastern Europe seen as organic movements or orchestrated efforts? Drew?
Sorry, mate.
Can the revolutions in Eastern Europe be seen as organic movements or orchestrated efforts?
Mostly orchestrated, I'd say.
Oh, hang on. Irish Partisans just put a message up there. He said, many Belarusian women are disinterested in sex.
I would say that is 50% true. I think either they really want it or they really don't. And I don't think that there is much in between here.
Yeah.
So either full on or full off.
Yeah, they're like a light switch.
Got to find the right bulb.
Well, I'm sure there's a clitoris joke in there somewhere, but
yeah, Irish Partisan said, but not the MILFs. The MILFs obviously like sex.
Well, yeah, obviously they've had a kid, so you know that they have sex. I'm sorry, Irish Partisan. That's partisan.
Partisan.
Yeah, that's.
I've heard of some of these older
where children
women
come from.
that are like businesswomen paying young guys for services.
Oh yeah, I've heard some nasty stories about woman CEOs or like girl boss type bitches where
here.
Yeah, a girl that used to do nails here. She's in a different country doing nails now because she's really good at it. But she was telling me about how she was doing this chick's nails, and older lady telling about how she got like two 18-year-old boys to come over to her house, and she paid them to like do a bunch of weird stuff with each other and then to her. And so like if you have money here, and you'll hear the same thing from like girls doing that for older guys too. It's just money talks.
If you want to know what a girl's interested in, go on a dating app and look for the age range she's looking for. If she's 20 years old and she's looking for like 40 to 50 years old. That's typically not for a normal relationship.
Yeah, but for the question though, the color revolutions for the everything is like what we were just saying. Everybody has their price for all the USAID stuff. I think that's just the basic question is, what is the smallest amount that I can pay you to betray your country and your fellow citizens?
Speaking of price, that's a very good thing you said, and it's amazing how low some people's prices are. I know a guy, he's actually here. There was something he cared about. It was just an excuse, using the price as an excuse to not do something about it. But he used a price of like $15 as an excuse to go against his ideals. That's just insane.
Very vague and cryptic, but yes. So you find a guy that's drunk enough.
No, he wasn't drunk. He's sober. He barely drinks any alcohol. I consider him like a fake alpha male type guy. He talks the talk, but he never walks the walk.
Well, I mean, what are we talking here? $15 to suck a dick, or what?
No, $15. That's nothing to do with dicks or sucking. I'm not trying to target someone on the video, make it personal about him, but yeah, it was going to cost him like $15 to stand up to his ideals, and he used that as an excuse not to do it.
All right, well, I'll target somebody on video. Ricky, how much money for you to suck a dick? All right, next question.
Okay. What are the ethical implications of foreign entities funding local opposition movements, especially in the light of recent allegations?
Ethical, that's an interesting area to focus in on. depends on what your ethics are. Some people don't have ethics, so for the people doing that funding, there is no ethical implications. For people that believe in freedom, well, of course, that's a big issue with freedom of choice, because now you're getting rid of people's freedom of choice by influencing them.
Drew?
Say the question again, mate.
You gotta scroll up. Yeah, there you go.
What are the ethical implications of foreign entities funding local opposition movements, especially in the light of recent allegations?
Right. God, I mean, open-ended and vast, you know. It's interfering with other sovereign nations' elections is, well, basically an act of war, isn't it? But it's just been reframed by government and Western media that somehow these are benevolent acts. And yeah, I mean, they're interfering with other sovereign nations, simple as that. You know, it shouldn't be allowed.
Michael?
Yeah, I mean, these are just essentially just modern day spy organizations, and
yeah.
I mean, these are all the things that you read about, you know, and
USAID gets $40 billion a year, which is more than the CIA.
That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So how should countries balance foreign influence with national autonomy? We'll start with Michael.
Well, I've said this on the show multiple times. I don't think that you should be influencing foreign nations at all. Stay in your fucking yard and take care of your own yard first. And if everybody did that, everything would be fine. But for some reason, everybody wants to be a nosy neighbor and they want to stick their fucking fingers where they're not supposed to be. And the reason why I talk about it like this is because I mean, I had to leave America because it was fucking awful. And now I live here and I like it. So please don't fuck with here, or I'm going to be very angry. I like it here. Don't fuck with it.
Andrew.
Well, the question was about what should the country do to prevent it, and that's very tricky. It's like Putin said in that video with Tucker Carlson.
No. It's how should countries balance foreign influence with national autonomy?
Yeah, but the question is really how do you combat it?
Yeah.
Because there's no balance if you can't combat it. And what Putin said
well, maybe what they did here is that, one, they got rid of all the NGOs, and two, when there's elections coming up, they've restricted the money that anybody's able to get from overseas.
Well, and that's exactly why, like, I think Belarus did exactly what I said. They're taking care of their backyard. They're not foreign, trying to influence any foreign nations. What they did was they made it so that way you got to do a fuckload of paperwork to come into here. And if you want to stay here, you got to do a fuckload more paperwork. And then they kicked everybody out that they could figure out that we're doing dumb shit. And then for, 3-4 months leading up to the elections, they made it so you can't get cash out of the ATMs and blah, blah, blah. And
yeah, with foreign cards, yeah.
Yeah,
well, first of all, about the paperwork that you need to come here, there's really very, very little paperwork for most people from most countries. It's only as an American that we still need a visa.
Well, yeah, because we're the only ones that are doing this fucking dumb shit.
But do you think that the U.S. government's going to send in American citizens to do it, or are they going to send in an Australian citizen to do it? Whatever.
What are you insinuating? What are you insinuating?
That work stuff to come in just for Americans.
We're an independent news network, sir.
Yeah, we only get paid for.
Also about the ATM stuff. That's not that important either. You know, combine the paperwork for Americans with the ATM stuff. America hires some Belgium guy. They give him, $99,000 in cash. He brings it in. You find a bunch of other people from a bunch of other countries. They bring in all the cash. Now the ATM stuff doesn't matter. Now the screening for Americans doesn't matter. I mean, it's not like they're dealing with toddlers.
Yeah, but you don't think the KGB is watching that stuff? I mean,
I think they're watching, but I think that you have.
Well, because also what was interesting is as the election was coming up, because I travel across the border a lot to go to Lithuania, they started in the cars, which they'd never done before, checking people, like you get out of the car with the wand, like checking you and all that sort of thing, which they've never done before. So they started doing all that as well. So it'll be interesting to see when we go in the next couple of weeks if they're still doing it.
I think it's very good that they're taking the measures they are, but I think the number one deciding factor for why we don't see protests right now is the Ukraine war, because so many people realize that, hey, we're really lucky that we're not in that position right now.
Yeah, no one wants to be here like that shithole Ukraine next door. That's it, essentially.
Yeah, and then also that Svetlana Tikhanovskaya. First, I just want to say, no one actually liked her or supported her. The West picked her as a candidate. Like, there were some candidates other than Lukashenko that some people liked, but nobody liked Svetlana Tikhanovskaya. It's like,
yeah,
that's completely artificial.
And did you see in the news that the USAID, now it's closed down, the opposition's lost $30 million in funding,
great.
And they're getting something like $60 million a year. It's like, where's all that going?
Well, also, I heard that so a lot of the Belarusians that went to Poland, they were promised that after they did the stuff here and they went to Poland, that they would be financially supported. And there was a headquarters in Poland. I don't know if they had some sort of official name, but they were not giving the participants their money. What a surprise. You help a very corrupt, immoral system and they screw you over. So they were like knocking on the door and the people inside were instructed, do not open the door. You just don't keep it locked. You don't open it. You don't let anybody in. So you had all the protesters here that went to Poland trying to get their money when they went to Poland and they couldn't get it.
Well, I think the whole thing with them picking that chick to be the fake president is I don't know, it's like a classic USA You Go Girl situation. And
they picked what's his name, Guaido in Venezuela, remember?
Well,
and then they picked obviously Navalny's fucking wife now for Russia. They do that all the time. They just pick someone and say you're the president.
Well, but I mean, to specifically pick a woman, I think that they thought that they would get the woman vote by doing that, not realizing that the women here are not American women. And if you ask them, do you think a woman should be your president? Most of them are going to say no.
Speaking of elections and stuff, did you know that Poland in the West held elections for Belarus in the summer?
Yeah.
Not for president.
Yeah.
But yeah, for like all the other positions.
Yeah. They've got a fake cabinet as well now.
What is that supposed to do?
It's supposed to be like once the country falls, then they just install all those people.
Oh, so it's just you're literally just saying that you're gonna topple the country and then put in your own government.
Yeah, well, they've been saying that all the time.
Oh well, I mean that's but I mean to elect it, I didn't know that they did that.
Yeah,
they have a whole fake cabinet.
Yeah, they got a fake cabinet.
They have to create a false history line for people to follow. This is what happens with a lot of stuff. So the people that fall for these narratives, they have proof within the narrative. The narrative's so big. They're like, well, in 2018 this happened and that, and then in this year that. And they link all these fake things together, and it's their whole artificial world that proves itself.
Well, that's like if you go to newspapers.com and then you start searching for before 1920, how many times 6 million Jews or gas chambers was mentioned, or it sounds real fucking familiar.
Yeah, I think they did a census and like all the Jews in the world added up to like 6 million.
Yeah, there wasn't 6 million in Europe at the time. But we can talk about that another time.
Every fucking episode we get into this.
Yes, every episode. Is the narrative of promoting democracy a cover for broader geopolitical strategies? We'll start with Drew.
Sorry, say that again, mate.
Is the narrative of promoting democracy a cover for broader geopolitical strategies?
Yeah. I mean, sure. I mean, it goes back to your last question about balancing sovereignty and, influence. I mean, we should all be running our own elections, politicians representing what primarily their citizenry require. They shouldn't be messing with other people's elections. I mean, where do you draw the line?
Yeah, exactly. Andrew?
the world is always at war. It's just how visible and apparent it is, because warfare exists in many forms. That is a form of warfare, trying to manipulate other countries. Now, another way to look at it is if you did have some amazing, perfect country somehow, and all the other countries were bad, then, you know, it wouldn't be so bad if that amazing, perfect country influenced the other countries. But that's not reality. Reality is you have one country doing acts of war against other countries. And these countries, one's not good, one's not bad. They're all just countries. And one's arguably kind of bad because they're doing all that stuff. But, yeah.
I think, I don't know, the world has been a global battleground for thousands of years. It's all been based off of race, religion, etc. And then only now we want to pretend that everything is based on human rights and gender norms and blah, 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 and all these things that you're still fighting, and you're trying to change the reason that you're telling everybody. But it's funny because all the things that people are fighting over, these are not Christian values. I mean, you have all of these false churches and stuff that are talking about, oh, God loves everybody. No matter what you do, you can always be forgiven and blah, blah, blah. I don't understand how you can, commit atrocities and still be forgiven. How do you think that there's no consequences for your actions? And I think that a lot of the battles that we have going on, it's trying to drive everybody towards atheism, into not believing that there's a reason for anything, into believing that there's no consequences for your actions, generally. It's just
about the other rule of those churches, which, so you said that one, and their other rule is just be good. That's all.
Right. But if you tell somebody to be good, and you say anything about the Christian religion when you do that, now you are Islamophobic and anti-Semitic and blah, 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 even though if you truly also follow God.
I said the wrong word. I meant be nice. That's like the new religion, like Christianity and Catholic. Just be nice. Be nice to everybody.
See, but that's the thing, is they're changing the definition of good and nice. Because to be good, you can't be nice all the time.
Yeah, good is if there are rapists and murderers, you eliminate them so they don't continue to harm people.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, if you catch somebody with their fucking pants down and there's a naked woman below them, why are we having these issues where you can literally have that shit on camera? I mean, this happens in the UK all the time. You read about it. You guys have all those grooming gangs and stuff, and I mean, nobody does anything about it. They end up going on probation. They don't really go to prison. And then they just get back out on the street and they do it again and again. And they're organized and they're just destroying your whole country. And yeah, if you wanted to be good, you would do exactly what Andrew said. You would take them out back and you'd shoot it in the head like a rabid fucking dog. I don't understand what the issue is.
Oh, let's go to.
That's not nice.
It's not nice, but it's good.
Okay, let's have a look in the Rumble chat. Irish Partisan again. He said, "What you're going to see is the recalibration of U.S. imperialism away from soft power of woke politics and color revolutions to covert or overt, i.e., coups and invasions. And the U.S. ruling class will now refocus its attention away from Europe towards its own backyard, Mexico, Panama, Cuba, Nicaragua, Venezuela, and the Arctic."
Well, yeah, how else are you going to make all that money off Amazon if you can't expand into Mexico and Panama?
And the Arctic, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Penguins need to order oh, no, they don't live in the Arctic. Polar bears need to order stuff from Amazon.
Exactly. How do NGOs... Sorry.
Pretty funny how they're saying, well, Greenlanders want to vote to be part of the U.S. Well, it's like, how come when Crimeans voted to be part of Russia, that wasn't okay?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think Irish Partisan's correct about everything he said.
Yep. How do NGOs and intelligence agencies like the CIA operate within international law regarding sovereignty? Anybody?
They don't.
They don't. That's it. That's a quick answer. Where are the responses by governments to NGO activities justified or excessive? Like here.
Say that again?
Well, the responses by governments to NGOs activities, are they justified or excessive? Like here, that here in Russia where they kicked them out, is that excessive or justified?
I would say it's not far enough. I mean, it's clearly espionage, and you should have. But then you run into the problem with all these American media sources are going to start bitching about, oh, they have all these thousands of political prisoners because you have 1,001 fucking spies that you caught, and now
you need to imprison them.
Right. So
it's kind of like the laws for importing drugs into Belarus. Even if you try to sneak in a little bit of drugs, they don't just deport you. You go to prison. Because if they simply deport the people that try to smuggle in drugs, oh, no big deal. You know, you failed, you didn't bring them in, you just go back home. But if you're going to go to prison for 10 years, now that's a big incentive not to smuggle drugs in. Like with those NGOs, it's got to be, a 10-year prison sentence if you are doing espionage.
They've started kicking them out of African countries as well, if you've noticed.
Well, that's the same thing that happened with that fucking tranny basketball bitch.
Oh, in Russia, yeah.
Yeah. Like you wanna try and sneak in these fucking weed vape pens? Okay, great. You go to prison, and then we're gonna trade you back for this international arms dealer that they were pretending to hold in prison in America, because as soon as he went back to Russia, then they smacked his fucking pee-pee because he was doing a bunch of dumb shit. So, good trade there.
Victor Boat.
You know what I was really happy about is when, I forget the guy's name, the one that assassinated the Chechen that was running over Russian soldiers' heads while they were still alive.
Oh, the guy in Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Western media makes him out to be some sort of evil murderer, and it's, a big criminal gang, Putin and his hitman. It's like, that is God's work, removing someone from the planet that was running over Russian soldiers' heads.
How does the media, including social media, play into these political manipulations? Let's start with Drew.
Well, massively. I mean, they're losing control, obviously. I mean, this is a huge issue at the moment, isn't it? Mainstream media versus the evil X kind of thing. Obviously, governments with agendas are going to pursue their agendas, and they'll use the tools available. They probably invented the tools available in order to...
Australia just put in a law for hate speech. If you do anything they don't like, they put you in jail. Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, in the UK at the moment, it's... we're living in the twilight zone, basically. You just don't know what you can say online. I mean, we're experiencing a time in the UK where, people would really like to say things that are on their mind, but feel hamstrung. You kind of don't know from one day to the next what might get you in trouble, which is kind of quite disorientating. Traditionally, England has been very much a sort of place of free speech, and that's suddenly disappeared. We've got non-crime hate incidents or something now, which is this kind of building into the legal framework, having policing of words. The police, if you post someone on something online that's not illegal, but the powers that be don't agree with your narrative, you can literally have the police knocking at your door. And in some cases, in the case of Southport, there were people who have been sent to prison for their comments on social media, for saying things that were denied and have later, come to pass that they were true, and they haven't, as far as I'm aware, done anything about it. there's people talking about terrorism and stuff online in relation to Southport, where a number of children were stabbed and 3 girls were killed, and there was troubles relating to that, and also other concerns at the moment within the UK. We have a massive problem with people immigrating here and seeking refugee status, tens of thousands of people. And it's causing a lot of concern because it's moved out of the larger cities now into literally your kind of traveling salesman hotels. We've got the government booking out hotels to house these people, and it's causing a lot of friction. And so you have these two things coming together, people getting quite passionate about it online, the government denying that this is the case, particularly to the specifics of the motivation of this murderer, i.e. was he just a nutter, or was he some kind of politically motivated individual, i.e. a terrorist? And they've been playing this sort of word game for 6 months, jailing people for making comments about it, or certainly reprimanding people, and then months later they turn around and go, yeah, it was a terrorist act. So
they started this a long time ago with what was it, that Tommy Robinson guy?
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing in the UK, is that our media is so managed that, basically narratives are kind of spun over quite long periods of time, and they like to kind of pick out people to build up to pull down. And I mean, Andrew Tate and Tommy Robinson are kind of the main figures that the media have picked to kind of catalyze this idea of the far right, and basically heavily promote in a negative way these guys. They give them the oxygen of publicity, and it sort of generates in the sort of public perception that we do have this toxic masculinity that's about to march off goose step styley into this kind of misogynistic kind of hell. But,
well, I would say, like, especially when it comes to Tate, I've never sat down and really listened to like episode after episode of him, but I mean, like, I've watched his clips, I've seen the things he says, and I think that they picked him on purpose as a alt-right character, because I mean, the guy's kind of fucking ridiculous. I mean, he's funny. He seems like he'd be cool to hang out with and stuff. But to say that he's even a conservative person, that's just blatantly a lie. I mean, he's just kind of just a clusterfuck in general as a person.
Yeah, I mean, I believe he turned to He turned to. He's become a Muslim.
Islamic,
well, he just does what he goes where the tide goes. If it benefits him to be a Muslim, he's a Muslim. If it benefits him to do this, he's at that.
Well, he's also been touting that he's standing in the UK in the next elections, to bring back British values and stuff. I mean, it's on the one hand, he's
values as a Muslim.
Huh?
He's going to bring back British values as a Muslim. That's
I mean, it's a sort of somewhat of a contradiction, and he's. Yeah, I mean, what he's actually said also in context. I mean, I don't follow the guy. I only know about the guy because of his media exposure. I mean, a bit like Nigel Farage, he's kind of rammed down our throats, and you're kind of left wondering why. I mean,
the really interesting thing about him. So he claims that the Matrix is after him, aka the Western powers. If that's true, why are you living in the European Union? That's not very logical. If you actually were the person you're portraying yourself as, and you actually have Western powers after you trying to imprison you or ruin your life, how come you're not living in Belarus or Russia or even China?
To be fair, he did pick Romania, and
that's the European Union.
And I don't think that they were part of the Schengen agreement for a long time, right? So you couldn't just...
They're part of the West.
Yeah, but you still couldn't just like have anybody come in and out. So I think that was part of why you went there.
If you're part of the European Union, they got their thumb on you.
Well, Romania's having the biggest NATO base built it.
Well, I think
they are completely bought out.
Interpol can go fucking anywhere basically too. So
if he is truthful about not doing criminal stuff, not doing immoral stuff, and that the Western powers are after him, he would be living in Russia or Belarus, potentially China. But he's not, so something isn't as he's saying.
Well, yeah, I mean, all of these guys, well, I mean, there is, whether they're kind of doing it premeditatedly, I mean, in many cases it is, there has to be the drama, doesn't there? There has to be the chased and the chaser and, you know, the good guy and the bad guy. And, you know, it's kind of playing the victim a little bit. You know, I mean, you could argue the toss about that sort of stuff all day long, but I mean, you know, regards back to kind of influence and people like him and Tommy Robinson, it really doesn't matter what the truth is. You know, it's a narrative. I mean, in the case of Tommy Robinson, I'm no fan of his. You know, like most other people, I've dismissed him. You know, he used to be involved with the English Defence League before he was a journalist. And so a lot of people had kind of dismissed him as being, you know, a horrible racist. And, you know, the truth of what he is talking about and his motivations all get sort of kind of weaponized and, you know, the truth isn't out there. It's just the kind of, you know, he's characterized so that the public can be sold, you know, this threat, this dark threat, you know, that needs to be contained.
Yep.
And, you know, the truth of what is behind all of that is kind of lost, you know. I mean, it was more or less a libel thing, wasn't it, that he's in jail for? You know, it wasn't about the libel itself and the truth of it. It was about, you know, a libel case that he went against the judge's orders, and he's effectively in jail for contempt of court, as I understand it. But, you know, the narrative in the media, you really wouldn't understand that. You'd just say that, you know, you'd think he's done something criminally illegal, and that's it. You know, he pleaded guilty, throw away the key. You know, it's fait accompli, he's guilty as charged. And, you know, the nuance of it all is lost. And, you know, love him or hate him, you know, that's not a good direction for a kind of democratic, free society.
I think when it comes to the social media and regular media influence, it's obviously they're trying to drag everything further and further left, and that's why I was saying that I think that you would, you know, Tate's a good kind of person to pick, because if you want to pretend like he's alt-right, I mean, the guy says some outlandish stuff. Macho guy, kickboxer, drinks, he smokes, he makes a lot of crude jokes, and obviously is a womanizer. And I think the reason that they don't show actual alt-right people is because if you looked into how somebody from the alt-right thinks, they're going to have Christian values. You're going to see that they want nothing.
Muslim.
Exactly. He's a Muslim. You're
a Muslim because it benefited him when he was living in Dubai.
But I think the thing is that if you actually showed alt-right people and you showed Christian values, how they want nationalistic societies that take care of themselves, they want their neighbors to work and be able to feed and clothe themselves. They want women to stop whoring themselves out. They want men to stop fucking everything they see. They want children taken care of. And they want their communities to be clean and safe, and they don't want all this fucking riffraff. Well, when you start to show people that actually talk like that, they're racist, they're homophobic, they're Islamophobic, they're anti-Semitic is the biggest one probably. And I think the big problem is if you actually showed these people, like, who's that fucking, do you remember that guy with the slick back hair? It was like something Spencer in America. And they were
tattoos.
Yeah, and he was the one that was like in charge of the Proud Boys thing for a while. Richard Spencer, there we go. When you start looking at like the things that he was talking about, that guy fucking disappeared from the face of the earth after he got a little bit of exposure, and people were starting to listen to him, and things really got out of hand quick, because that was when you remember all those videos of that Dodge Charger running people over at that fucking rally, and that was when people thought America was really gonna have a civil war, because then you had a couple of people where I think they accidentally got a little too much attention, and people were actually starting to pick up on Christian values and alt-right values, and seeing that alt-right is not really a bad thing. I think alternative right is just the fact that in America you have your left, you have your right, but they're playing for the same team.
It's completely retarded, mate. I'm sitting here listening to this, and it's like, how can I put this? The narratives and the labeling that you're using there is the construct that the captured media and the state has been pigeonholing us into.
Well, and that's exactly what I'm saying.
The simplistic idea of the far right and, all of these kind of things, they're bullshit.
Right.
And exactly the same thing that, sort of calling Starmer a communist. All of these ideas of the far left, the far right, anything that, might be sort of something like a publicly funded healthcare system, for example, is, straight up fucking communism. And there's no in between. And these constructs and these kind of assumed truths and implanted kind of assumptions are, things that aren't real. They're things that have been instilled into us. So, when you sort of you're talking and you're basically playing by their rules, being fenced in by these concepts, these people aren't communists. They're not socialists. They're, neocon globalists, basically. Now, they're using the tools of that might be parallel to communism in the way that they sort of control dissent or conversation or whatever, but taking everything into this kind of black and white binary of far left or far right, that's where we are actually going badly wrong in the first place, because we're talking in these terms that are constructs that have been conjured up, instilled. In the UK, you've got incels, gammons, and the far right. Yeah. So anyone who kind of disagrees with the narrative is one of those three things, and those are sort of narratives that have been repeatedly inserted into conversation, particularly over the last half dozen years.
But I think that's exactly why you're gonna enjoy the last little bit of what I was gonna say, because I was about to wrap it all up into a nice little package right before I joined the Army, there was a bunch of people that were having all these meme groups and a bunch of ridiculous shit happening, and after I joined the Army, then I was still following that, and I even had my own meme page and whatnot, and Trump got elected, and yeah, they were calling them far right at one point, and then that Spencer guy was calling himself alt-right, but then they took that alt-right, and then they took it away, because they want everybody to look at left and right in America, but what they're doing, and I said this earlier in the show, they drag everything further to one side. So where you had the right before, they're pulling it slowly over, so that way it seems like it's a gradual shift. But it's not, and they're all really playing for the same side. So then you had these people like the Proud Boys and all these other groups that were talking about Christian nationalism and all this other stuff, and then you run into the problem where, well, that doesn't fit into exactly like you were saying, the binary media system. And so now they had to come up with something, and now these are crazy alt-right conspiracy theorists, but now it's all constantly it unravels. But I think people have the attention span and the memory of a goldfish, because every so often you keep on finding out all this stuff that you thought was a conspiracy theory has been true. I mean, as much as I fucking hate Alex Jones is fucking ridiculous, but the guy was right a lot of the time.
He's right about almost everything.
Yeah, it's when you talk about these conspiracy theories. How many times did they tell you that chemtrails aren't real, and then it turns out that they were doing cloud seeding the whole time with actual chemtrails? And you can see now they've released, you can see photos where flight crews are fucking dumping vapors out so they can control the weather. And you can find all this shit. And they've been doing it for like the last 60 years. So.
And USAID have been funding it.
Right. And USAID is funding it.
Thinking about politics and policies and stuff, I think it's interesting. When I was in high school, I think the year was 2013 or 2014, but we had like fake class elections, and I ran for fake president. Like, the elections were in our class, but like for fake president of the United States, and I won. And the policies that at least the high school students where I lived and grew up supported, one was landmines on the border, amongst other things. One was extreme vetting of everyone coming into the country, stop U.S. interference in foreign countries. I ran as libertarian. I said that people inside the U.S. who are American citizens should have the choice to do what they want to do. I'll just leave it at that, as long as you don't interfere with anybody else. You don't push it on somebody. Like, if you're doing it in your own home, hats off to you. Doesn't matter. But I think that's interesting, because if you brought up like the landmines on the border, people would say that's crazy, but it's like, hey, my whole class supported that. They thought that was a great idea.
Well, see, here's the thing. When I was younger, yeah, I liked the libertarian idea, because if I'm not hurting somebody, why does it matter? But I heard Drew's big sigh, because I don't know. I think as I started to get older, I realized, well, it doesn't really work that way. Because even if I think that I'm not hurting somebody, if you see me doing some dumb shit, or if I get somebody hurt, in certain cases, I didn't mean to do it. I didn't think it would happen. Accidents do happen, but there sure is a high risk for a lot of behaviors. And, if I want to have a fucking TV program about transgender drag shows and drag story time bullshit.
I was saying if you do it in the privacy of your own home, not if you make a TV show.
Well, sure, but that TV show, you get to choose to have it on in your home or not, right? So what if I have it on a satellite TV, and then people are they're showing it to their kids because they get to choose to do that in their own home, right? But you're broadcasting that.
Well, the broadcasting it would be going outside of your own home. But yeah, I'm not libertarian necessarily. I don't completely agree with everything I said in my high school class back in 2013 or 2014. But I definitely did not intend for people to make LG, whatever the hell shows and broadcast them. The idea was, if you want to be gay, say at your own home and not tell anybody about it, that's okay. Now you want to make a TV show about it, that's not okay.
Well, I mean, I used to be like that, but now I'm more of a landmines on the border kind of person. That's what I'm saying. I think I grew up. I matured a little bit.
I've definitely changed over the years.
Everybody does. Can civil society organizations, media, and even philanthropy replace traditional government roles in humanitarian efforts without compromising national security or political independence?
Oof. That's a loaded fucking question.
Yeah, it is.
Doesn't sound like it's going to happen. It's just human nature that people are going to be corrupt.
I think that you can be a philanthropist inside of your own fucking yard. That's I shouldn't, as an American, I shouldn't be lobbying in Zimbabwe because I want more McDonald's in Zimbabwe. I don't know. What's more American than McDonald's? I couldn't think of anything else. I want more dudes to kiss each other in Zimbabwe, so I give Zimbabwe a bunch of money. I can't think of anything like.
The problem is whether your intention is pure or not. It's influence. So it doesn't matter if you have some evil intention.
Well, that's the thing though, is like with all these NGOs and stuff that are doing all this bullshit, they pretend like they have these pure intentions and they can make it look like it's good, but
even if you have the pure intentions, the intent doesn't matter. The result does.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. It's all interchangeable because at the end of the day, you shouldn't be doing anything outside of your backyard. Like I don't go over to my neighbor's house and tell them how to raise their children. I don't go over to my neighbor's house and here's the big thing. This is why I hate fucking Jehovah's Witness so much. They want to knock on my fucking door and tell me about Jesus Christ, and then I tell them, no thanks, I'm Catholic, and get the fuck out of here. I already know about him. And then they're like, but our Jesus is different. No, fuck off. Like, or Mormons, man. Like, you never had to deal with Mormons. You dealt with them?
In Australia, yeah.
No, Jesus Christ. They have Mormons in Australia?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that. Why?
They're everywhere.
Fuck.
They're in England as well.
What's annoying is you go to Utah and you want to order, I think I wanted to order a margarita, and they told me you can only order a pitcher. I'm like, okay, I'll order a pitcher. And they go, well, you can only order a pitcher if there's 4 or more people at your table.
Oh, dude, they used to try to pull that bullshit on me at like restaurants and stuff all over the place. Like, fuck that. Just give me my alcohol. I'm an alcoholic. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Fucking up your Friday night at Hooters.
Speaking of alcohol, I was just flying on a lot of planes. What you got to do is you get the little 100 milliliter bottles. Doesn't matter what they're for. Like in Thailand, I got these 100 milliliter collagen drinks.
Well, yeah, you can bring what, like 8 of them, or?
And you just fill up a bunch of them, and you just put them in your bag, and then the scanner machine's gonna be like, oh, there's a bunch of liquid, and they open it, and they're like, well, it's 100 milliliters. I got 10 of them. Who cares? They're 100 milliliters.
It depends on the country, but you have to be able to fit it in like a certain size plastic bag.
That doesn't matter. That's the official rule, like everywhere, but that never matters.
Well, as long as you don't have a bomb or vodka in your shoe or whatever.
I mean, half the time I bring whole water bottles in my backpack through the security. I don't take anything out of my. If I go through security, I don't take anything out.
Yeah,
of my
but some of the airports now have got machines you can take liquids in and bottles and all that scans it, so it's fine.
I think my best example of that is after I got done with the Army training, I had to take a plane from Fort Jackson to Fort Lewis, and I go to the airport and I go through the test scanner. And the TSA guy decides for some reason that he's gonna wipe down my army bag with like one of those
for explosives.
And then he like wipes like my combat boots and stuff, and then he sticks the thing in the machine. He's like, yeah, this tested positive for gunpowder. And I was like, yeah, no fucking shit. Here's my army ID. You're rubbing down my fucking army equipment with a cotton pad. What did you think it was gonna come up with? I'm like, get your fucking guy over here, get your supervisor. And his supervisor comes over, I hand him my card, and I'm like, dude, can I just get on my fucking plane? And then they wanted to sit there and have a conversation about it. Like, you can't even get on the plane without getting harassed as a service member. Like,
it reminds me of how you can't take your own money out of the bank when you want to take it out of the bank.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, I test positive for gunpowder because it's my job to fucking... Like, I literally just got done throwing hand grenades, like a week or two before. Like, yeah, I got fucking gunpowder. I probably got fucking shrapnel all over my clothes. And then, what? You want to stick your fucking fingers up my ass at the airport? And I guarantee it's not going to be like a normal person. It's going to be some fucking Haji or some shit. Like, great, thanks. Like...
Yeah,
it's a good thing I signed up for this bullshit.
Do your profiling properly. What are the implications of using American tax dollars to fund initiatives that align more with ideology agendas than national security? Andrew?
You sacrifice national security.
Drew?
Say the question again, mate.
What are the implications of using American tax dollars to fund initiatives that align more with ideological agendas other than national security?
Well, I mean, it's kind of a loaded question, but yeah, I mean, obviously, it's hoodwinking, isn't it? Inclusivity and all of these kind of magical thinking notions are kind of not appropriate in certain circumstances, and defense of a nation is one of those.
Yeah. How can transparency in funding the NGOs be improved to prevent misuse and manipulation, especially with organisations linked to George Soros, for example? Who wants to go with that?
Well, if you want to go with my classic thing that I keep on saying, I think that Belarus has the right idea. You got to keep every foreign influence out of your backyard at all costs. And I think that, like, for companies like America, countries like America, I don't know. Just why are you wasting that much time and effort and money on something that doesn't really seem like...
Spend it on your own citizens and your own infrastructure.
Right. It's really simple. I mean, why am I paying all this money for...
$40 billion a year.
Yeah, transgender plays and books and all these other fucking countries and obviously the goal is just destabilization, which is why it's incredibly ironic that the name is USAID, because it's doing the opposite.
Yeah, but it's not actually aid, isn't it? It's American International Development, it actually stands for.
Is that what it?
Yeah, it's not. That doesn't stand for aid. It's I'm sure it says American International Development. That's what it stands for.
What's interesting about like national security policies, politics? It's like the right.
I gotta delete that.
Would say that. What?
Oh, he started searching what does USAID stand for, but he forgot to clear the search bar first, so it would have looked a little funny.
There you go. See,
policy
there you go. Agency for International Development. Yeah.
USA, as in.
Yeah, United States Agency for International Development.
You're only one letter off of NSA, first of all.
Yeah.
Well, Jesus.
Policies and national security. Something interesting is, like the public-funded health care. In America, people say that's communist. That's actually not, and it's bolstering national security. If you have an unhealthy population, your national security falls.
Well, but here's the thing: is America, you used to be able to afford all this stuff because you had no federal income tax, no state income tax, and none of the city tax, this county tax, this property tax, this sales tax, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you used to be able to afford all this shit. I mean, 60s, 70s, even into the 80s, you used to be able to work a part-time job at some fucking mom-and-pop restaurant or a hardware store and go to college, and by the time you were done with college, you paid for all your college and you could buy a house. So, I mean, it just I don't know. It's like they just kept on tightening the noose, you know? So all these definitions and ideas that we had, you're getting taught by these people that, well, they didn't grow up in it, because I would say, how often would you say that the U.S. basically just isn't the same country anymore? I mean, like,
completely different country.
Well, I mean, like, from when we were kids until I thought it was completely different. I mean, like, it was less than 20 years.
Even 10
I've
years
seen
ago.
I've seen a huge difference from when I used to live in Alaska in '98 to 2003 to now.
Well,
Massive difference.
But I mean, like, the thing is like, I don't know. I was in high school. 2010 to 2014. No, 2009 to 2013. And I mean, even just when I got back from the army, like, I got back in 2018, and everything was totally fucking different. I mean,
just years ago, I remember when I was younger, there was curfew, 10 o'clock. When police found me and people I know out after curfew, I'm not saying this is good, but they would, like, grab you, throw you on the floor, throw you on their car, physically harass you. Now,
what state did you grow up in?
Whatever you want. You can walk into a store, take something off the shelf, walk
California.
out. Yeah, California. It's like, how did it change so much? It's like we went from, like, martial law practically to everything goes.
well, and it's funny because in Iowa, I had the opposite experience. When I was in high school, it seemed like you could basically do whatever you wanted, and then they cracked the fuck down on everything. You couldn't do shit anymore. I mean, like, they even had, like, during COVID and stuff, that was when they started introducing, our town had like 20,000 people, and they got fucking armed guards at Walmart telling you that you have to wear a mask.
COVID in California was like Mad Max. So, the grocery stores, they had all their crazy people that would chase you around if you walked in and skipped the line. But outside the grocery stores, you had people just riding their motorcycles through there's a college campus, and they're just, like, riding it straight through the center. You could drive your car. I'm not saying if I did, but you could drive your car and just forget about all the lines on the road, forget about the lights. Of course, you don't want to go through a red light without looking both ways first. But
This sounds like you had some practice.
They do that here.
He says, I don't know.
There were no police in California during COVID. I mean, there were none. They just all disappeared. I remember the day that the police came back. I got a speeding ticket.
Well, when there was COVID in Iowa, I tried to go into Walmart, and they had, like, taped off these cordons around the entrance and the exit, and, like, a bunch of goofy shit. And obviously, there's nobody in our fucking town, and I went in there at, like, a weird time. So I just ducked the rope, and I walked past, and I even said to the security guard, I was like, hey, what's up, dude? How's it going? And then he's, like, yelling at me. He's like, hey. And I turn around, and I was like, me? And he's like, yeah, you. Like, I was like, what do you want, man? And he's like, go back outside and go walk around the cordon and come back in again the right way. And I was like, excuse me? I had to walk back to the guy, and we almost got into a fist fight over this because some fucking Mexican guy in my tiny little town that got hired as a security guard is trying to treat me like a fucking 8-year-old.
Little power.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you listened to him.
No, I did not. No. Like, I told him, like, I was gonna beat the fucking shit out of him, and then he backed off. Like,
one good thing I'll say about blacks is they don't care about rules. I mean, first of all, you go to buy something, it doesn't scan. They just type in a random price at the grocery store and sell it to you. But during COVID, like, I remember there was a big old line, and one day I just didn't notice the line to the cash register, and I just walked straight up to the cash register, put my stuff there. And the girl goes, black girl, did you just cut the line, like skip all those people or whatever? I go, no. And she looks at me like I'm lying. I just didn't know there was a line. And I'm like, oh, I guess so. And she's like, okay.
What the fuck? Oh, okay, cool.
As long as you know that.
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off at the end.
Yeah. Okay, given the historical resistance to foreign aid cuts in governments, what reforms might be necessary to ensure aid is used for intended purposes, or that's never going to happen?
Nope.
No, that's it's not a good question.
Oversight, but the people doing the oversight can be corrupt.
Yeah, that's true. What ethical considerations arise from covert operations like Zumo, which is the Cuban Twitter, and how do they reflect on the broader strategy using technology for political destabilization in foreign countries?
Well, I like how we had the whole TikTok banning argument in America, and that's like the number one thing pushing bullshit everywhere else because they want to pretend like it's not coming from us, and it's all misdirection, and everybody knows that the TikTok servers are in Texas.
Yeah, they're blaming TikTok in Romania too for the people picking someone else, not a EU candidate.
It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit and misdirection, and I don't know.
It's amazing that some people don't realize the U.S. is targeting all the countries around Russia, like the former Soviet Union countries, to overthrow them. Like you only need an IQ of like 80 to notice that.
Yep.
Yeah, like why aren't we doing more in Africa? Like, I get all these fucking commercials on my TV with all these Arms of an Angel songs going off and all these fucking kids drinking fucking chocolate milk water, and they need my 25 cents a day. Why aren't we doing more in those countries? You know, I even see on my Instagram here, it's like Belarus UNICEF for Africa here. If Belarus is so poor and needs so much help, why are they trying to convince Belarusians to give their money to Africa? What the fuck is that?
You know what I love to say in California when people ask me if I wanted to like help the starving Africans? I'm like, no, let them starve.
Well, that's the classic. Oh, you should eat those vegetables or whatever you left on your plate.
Someone's starving and blah blah blah.
Yeah. Why don't you fucking send my plate to them then and watch what happens?
Yeah, they're not getting that.
But then you want to tell me in school that old classic, oh, you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach him how to fish. Well, why aren't you teaching Africans how to fish then? Stop giving them my fucking fish.
They can't learn how to fish. Did you ever think of that, Michael? Maybe we need to just keep giving them fish because they're not able to learn how to fish.
Can they fish in a desert?
Well, that sounds like you're admitting that black people aren't as, on the same level as everybody else, and now you're a white supremacist.
Yeah, maybe.
Supremacist.
And also you're somehow anti-Semitic and homophobic.
All of the above.
Yep. The thing about those hate laws, if you actually think about it, if you're making it more of a crime to commit crimes against anybody who's not a straight white male, you're actually making it less of a crime to commit a crime against a straight white male.
Well, yeah, that's exactly the thing, is because it's not about equality, and they said that before because then they started using that bullshit equity thing where, oh, if I want to make a black person the same as a white person, I can't just give them the same opportunity. They have to have more opportunities because that's the only way to make them equal to a white person. So all of these people that are trying to do all this DEI bullshit, all you're doing is admitting that white people are the qualified people for the positions, and you're just rigging everything so that way you have all these, mildly retarded people that are doing.
Related to this is women. It's like when I was studying chemistry. Originally, my first degree was chemistry. I changed it at the last minute because I took a bunch of other classes also. You had these girls that got, let's just say, basically the same grades as me. So you get these idiots going, oh, well, she is just as capable and qualified as you because, you got similar scores. It's like, no, because I needed to spend 20 minutes a day to get that score, and she had to spend like 5, 6, 7 hours and come every day after class and hang out with the professor for hours helping her solve each problem to get that same score. Do you really want that girl who has to do all that to get that score doing the job, or do you want the guy that can do it with his eyes closed and like barely put in any effort?
Yeah. XC Scott in the chat said the key with them, Africans, is that they are held back from their own resources by us, and we flood their markets with junk that stops them developing.
See, that is also actually a fair point, because we do that. They are, a little difficult and slow at learning, and all of those other things are also simultaneously true. But we do also fuck with them quite a bit. I will say that, because we have said that on the show before, because that was when we first that was when I first said the stay in your own yard statement, and I've been repeating it every show since.
Yeah, well, that's why some of them have kicked out the French, because they were getting ripped off from their resources and all that.
Well, luckily, I think the average French man
Burkina Faso has kicked them out. Now they're getting their money from gold that they never used to get.
But the average French man is now an African anyway, so.
Fair point.
Right. So I think France can just go back to doing what they were doing, because now all the Africans live there.
Okay, we've got about 10 minutes or so left. If we're not going to go over time, I'm just going to put up the numbers on the screen if you want to call, and Michael's going to read out the numbers for us.
Well,
I will leave anyway.
Okay.
I'll continue to hang out. I still have quite a bit of beer left.
Okay,
we can do many more shenanigans.
Yeah, we will.
But we have a San Francisco phone number, 415-800-3906. If you're in Australia, call Sydney at 612-8091-5955. And if you're in Linden, London, call 4420-3290-6203 and tell me your favorite flavor cornetto with a really funny voice.
And this is our 6th show where we've asked someone to call. Let's see if we get some. Okay, so Drew, thanks for being on the show.
Nice chatting with you.
Nice one, guys. And catch you next time.
Yep. Have fun with your next spell.
Cheers.
Tell Frodo I said hi.
Oh, Andrew's big now.
Yeah, big Andrew.
Big Andrew.
Oh my God.
Yes. Hey, how was Thailand?
Awesome. I was thinking it was going to be like hell on earth with the heat. I mean, beautiful, but I thought it was going to be like super hot. It was not that hot. Yeah, it was like 32 degrees. I could wear pants. I had cargo pants I was wearing, not most of the time, but I could wear them. I wore them between flights and stuff. Yeah, it was not that hot at all. And sunburn, I put some sunscreen on for the first several days. Didn't get sunburns. I was super surprised because everything online was saying it's going to be like miserably hot. Nope. Thailand was awesome.
That's good. Well, Michael's going to go to St. Petersburg next week, but he's put his trip off.
Yeah, we thought that it would be okay because we were talking about how, we don't have much snow this winter, and we had a bit of a warm spell, and then suddenly, bam, -8, -10 degrees, and St. Petersburg is obviously colder than Minsk, so we decided that is probably not a good idea. We will wait until it is warm outside.
And a warm hat and some warm boots, and it'll be good.
Yeah, but I wanted to go there with a woman, and
St. Petersburg's better in summer.
If I enjoy getting vagina, then I should probably make sure that my woman doesn't turn into a popsicle. So
you got to have a heater when you're inside. Heat her up.
Well, yes, of course, but
I thought it was funny. I met a guy here who claimed that the cold actually got him more pussy. He's like, "Oh yeah, it's really cold in my apartment, so the girls, they just take their clothes off and get in bed with me." I'm thinking, no, they don't.
No, actually, that's a fair point.
Warm. if it's cold, they're not even going to take their clothes off.
Well, no. They don't take their clothes off, but they get closer to you. You gotta hit that nice medium between cold but not too cold.
I don't think girls were getting so close to this guy.
Yeah.
Why?
I might be wrong.
Why?
I don't know. I can just read people, and the girls aren't taking their clothes off to get in bed to warm up with him.
Wow.
Oh, speaking of like vaginas and girls and stuff, when I was in Thailand, I noticed a very interesting biological effect. My dick was hard like the whole time.
for the lady boys?
No. I guess it was the heat or something. Like, I'm just, like, walking around half hard everywhere, and then, like, the second I'm, like, touching my wife in the water, I'm hard.
Okay.
So I just walk around.
Yeah.
I'm wearing my Speedo.
Yeah, this is
Like,
nice.
I didn't put clothes on unless I'm going into the hotel.
Great
So I go to a
conversation.
restaurant, I'm in my Speedo. I go wherever, I'm in my Speedo.
Wait. So you're wearing a Speedo, and you're walking around half
Not totally hard.
Jesus Christ.
It was like every girl I saw.
With no shirt on.
Not Thai girls.
With
but
no shirt on.
European girls. Like every European girl I saw, I wanted to load up with cum.
Oh boy.
Okay. We're on the air. Anybody want?
Biological effect.
Anybody want to call? The last 5 minutes before we get kicked off YouTube.
Everything was good.
Until the last moment.
God damn it.
I noticed you speak kind of freely on the shows now, and
Well,
about Michael's
we're speaking freely politically. You're not supposed to speak about
What you were speaking about.
Sorry, well, that's interesting biological research.
Okay.
We need to do more tests to see if it
Andrew enjoys researching how the body functions, especially his. And as a doctor, he has difficulty turning that off.
Oh, listen. I've been taking 10 milligrams of ivermectin, and well, obviously, I haven't felt any difference yet. And we'll see with the blood test in a couple of weeks. Do you think I should increase it? Hey?
It's good that you don't feel anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to feel anything.
Well,
But ivermectin, if you take enough of it, it always crosses into the brain a little bit, but you got these things that pump it out. You take too much, it accumulates in the brain. I mean, not technically accumulating, but it goes in the brain, and it intoxicates you in an unpleasant way.
Oh, okay.
Have you tried wearing a Speedo?
With no shirt on? No.
No.
Maybe that'll work.
Yeah, try that with the ivermectin and see what it does.
Yes.
Yeah, ironic, I was wearing a Speedo, which gets you a better tan, but I didn't shave my body, so once I do that for bodybuilding, I'm going to have some tan marks where all my hair is.
Actually, that's a funny point. I did see that you were posting about, what was it, vitamin C? And I saw the picture of you flexing on the beach, and I was just like, it looks like you're wearing fucking fur pajamas.
Oh, we got a question in the chat from XC Scott. What do you make of all of Kanye West's tweets? Have you seen them?
His name is not Kanye
It's
anymore.
Ye.
It's Ye.
Oh, okay, yay.
Yeah, it's just it's Ye.
Have you seen his tweets?
Oh, dude, his tweets are fucking...
Lately? I'm a Nazi. I love Hitler.
Well, it's like, it makes me wonder, like, cause when he posts stuff like that, it's cause somebody did something to make him fucking mad. So I wonder who pissed him off. Cause I keep on seeing all these random tweets and stuff, but I can't figure out. He never said specifically who made him mad. So I would assume that most of the people that are handling musicians, you've got music company representatives, you've got lawyers, and blah blah blah. 99% of them are Jewish, just like Kanye said, and obviously that's why he's doing that shit, and he's posting about him, and I'll give him this. He's got the right spirit, but he's
the highest IQ.
Right. He's not the smartest person. But he's got the right spirit, and he's a little confused on who to be angry at, because first he talks about all the producers and stuff are Jewish, and they got mad when I got mad at Taylor, and they got mad at this, and blah, blah, blah. And, then they pulled all that bullshit where they tried to make him look like he was crazy. And do I actually think that he's bipolar or any of that stuff? No. I think that when you're at that level of artistry and fame, you don't know who's affecting him. I don't know if he's bipolar. You could have somebody that's fucking sticking stuff in his food.
He did say his ex-wife was trying to give him what do you call them? Those anti-polar drugs,
like
drugs.
drugging him with them.
Yeah,
antipsychotics.
Yeah, she was trying to do that all the time.
See, well, and that's exactly the thing. Somebody could be sticking stuff in his food. He could have people that are...
Didn't they do that to Tyson as well?
Yeah. You could have people that are fucking with you, like, like you go to the grocery store, and at that level, I mean, you're worth hundreds of millions of dollars. You could have some random guy fucking come up to you, and he's not that random. Somebody paid him to fucking walk near you and say something. I mean, subliminal messaging and subconscious stuff is it's definitely true. I don't know what DROAM is, Scott. You're gonna have to tell us what the fuck that is. But yeah, I mean, like, if you whisper phrases into somebody's ear while they're sleeping, or they overhear voices at the grocery store talking about something, or you constantly have these lawyers and music labels that are fucking with them, and they're taking money from them. You have the crazy fucking Kardashian family that he has to deal with. I mean, that's his fucking fault, though. Why would you ever fucking do that?
Have you seen him with his wife lately? She always seems to be naked everywhere.
Oh, man, I don't understand that. And then there's the whole thing where Kanye keeps on rapping about how, I miss the old Kanye, and I'm the new Kanye, and he's Christian, and blah, blah, blah. But now you got your fucking bitch walking around with no clothes, and it's just, it's all over the place, but I think that they do it on purpose.
You know what's interesting about the grocery store thing you said, and manipulating someone's reality or the subliminal messaging, is I've kind of done that for fun. I got a friend that does that all the time for fun. You're in the grocery store, and you pretend like you're talking on the phone, and you just say some ridiculous stuff to people around you.
It's like an iPhone.
You just like pretend like you just beat the shit out of your wife. Oh yeah, let me get over there real quick so I can like go do this or that, and people will be like,
hang on, I'm just grabbing this and we'll watch this.
Well, it's like I don't know, like you hear about all these weird stuff, right? But you have where in media accidentally they tell you all the time what they're really doing, but they disguise it so that way you think they're not doing it. Like I remember watching a video, I think it was like last week, where that Aubrey Plaza chick was on the Grammys or whatever, and somebody had zoomed in on her, and she was like trying to do like these fake incantations where she was like praying to the devil and Satan, and Chris Pratt was up at the mic, and she kept on saying all this fucking weird shit, and then she was talking about like worshiping the devil, and Chris Pratt was talking about how you should follow God, and I think God is with all of you, and blah blah blah, and then at the end he gave like a big speech, but I think that was like him like fighting against Aubrey Plaza, and it's just odd because of these shows that they put on, and that's the thing is somebody just said, Scott said, I don't think he's bipolar, but I think he's a master of marketing, and that's exactly the thing is all these shows and all these things that they're putting on, it's all bullshit. And the next comment literally says, hasn't he always been an attention whore? Good attention, bad attention, he doesn't care. That's not it. All attention is good attention, because it like I said on, what was it, the last show? Please take some clips of me talking.
And put it out of context.
Put it out of context, make me viral, and next thing you know, I've got hundreds of thousands of followers, and I'm making a bunch of money, and I'm a fucking meme. Does it matter if it's good or bad? No. You can take me out of context good, you can take me out of context bad. As long as people are watching, they're paying me. So they don't care. I keep on joking about this, and I keep on saying ridiculous fucking shit. And now Scott is saying that the drugging thing sounds similar to the comments Michael Jackson was making. And the funny thing is, if you start to look into that, you can see that Michael Jackson had Jewish managers, just like everybody else in the music industry, and he got in trouble because in South America, he was talking about, you're going to jit me, you're going to Jew me in his songs, and he had to issue an apology, and then he performed it live and said it again. And
he has a whole song about Jews.
Yeah, exactly. The whole thing is about him getting fucked over by Jews. And then Kanye, you see, in the bullshit that he's saying, he talks about how Jews hate black people and white people, and they use black people against white people, and that's correct. You look into Michael Jackson, you look into Motown, you look at how they took advantage of all of these people like Lenny Kravitz is... I think he's even half Jewish, and they're taking advantage of the black community that way by pretending like he's black, but actually he's Jewish. And then you have Doja Cat. She's South African, but her mother is Jewish. She's actually Jewish. And then you have people like all those Motown people, like what are those songs? The people that made Oh September. I
know what you mean.
Yeah. I can't remember their fucking name, but yeah, they were all owned by Jews, and it's all over and over again.
Well, let's watch this drone video by Yay.
Yeah. We were looking it up. Well,
okay, here we go. Let's watch this.
Earth, Wind, and Fire. There we go. Thank you, Jin.
Yes. Okay. Let's watch this, and then we can. Whoop, let's go watch this.
This is a perspective on the next way of living. These are these fully sustainable cities. This is like, it's like an iPhone, right? But we're God's iPhone. We're his favorite creation.
For the past 10 years, Ye has spent over $100 million developing a new architectural language, investigating ways of living by removing the unnecessary and exposing the essential. Those years of research have culminated into Drome, Dome, Home, and Rome. Drome is a visionary city that is both 10,000 years in the past and 10,000 years in the future. A city that simulates its surroundings and becomes invisible. A city that can be anywhere. The homes are an extension of the landscape, and shelter is provided with the simplest form, a dome. A drome is an underground 8-acre space for one person, one family, or one function. The dromes make up a 5,000-acre town organized in a vortex, sloping towards a central biopond, part of a closed-loop system. Like life, the water's always in motion. The dromes are interwoven between natural pathways and perennial landscape. Other systems of transportation are below grade. Entry to the drome is into the ground via a super wide, undefined threshold. A transitional space prevents light leaks into the interior. Inside, the space feels endless and undefined. The dome ceiling becomes imperceivable. There is no distinction between interior and exterior space. A pool for recreation and bathing is surrounded by hills that define the functional spaces for sleeping, lounging, eating. Privacy between spaces is achieved by topography, landscape, and fog. The floor is an artificial landscape made of foam. With no furniture, it changes density depending on its use. octave areas are firm and flat, while resting areas are soft and elevated. Ye's team of architects, designers, and engineers are continuing to develop drones.
Okay, that seems like a bunch of fucking horse shit.
What happens when one person's violent and they just walk from their little area to your little area and kill you?
But you don't do that in the drone, man.
You don't need walls to keep bad guys out.
No. It's a underground, undefined entrance, man.
American First Life said, "Is that the healthiest way to live, or the longest life? If not, it sure doesn't sound exciting."
Well, it sounds like that fucking episode of well, it's multiple episodes of Futurama where they start living on that like space octopus thing where like it's like it calls itself Evo and it thinks that it's heaven, but it's really not. That's all that it reminds me of, because it's literally just people like lounging around and fucking each other and eating and then like swimming and doing whatever, and that was it. Like, and that seems like that's the idea. And you want to look at like a lot of Kanye's stuff with like those fucking Yeezy shoes, like what the fuck are those? And his fashion line and clothes. A lot of that stuff looks like I could drag it out of the fucking garbage.
Speaking of future stuff, I can't remember if it was like George Soros' son or who said this, but it's very interesting because it's very accurate to reality. They were talking about the future of humanity and how it would work once we have like AI and people don't need to work. The person said the solution is drugs and video games.
Mm-hmm.
And you already see that with a lot of people. If you go to America, there's a lot of people collecting a government paycheck or getting money from their parents, just doing drugs and playing video games.
Well, and to be fair, we don't have AI doing quite very much stuff yet when it comes to like menial tasks and everything. But if you think about all the stuff that we produce compared to, 100 years ago, per person, we make a crazy amount of shit. The fact that even now, every single person has to have a job, what exactly are you going to contribute? Like, what is there left for you to do? And
well,
not
we don't have AI or robots. We need people to sweep the streets. We need people to take. There's plenty of jobs.
Well, sure, but if your city has street sweepers like the big machines, or
you still need people to operate them unless you have AI and robots.
Well, yes, but you need less people than if everybody was doing it by hand,
Yeah, but I don't.
In a shopping centre here the other day, I saw the guy that used to sit on the thing, cleaning the floors. All those like little machines, and now they've got like 3 or 4 little small robots doing everything.
Yeah, you see, exactly. So now his job is fucking gone. So what's he supposed to do? So but everybody says that like it's a bad thing, but I think that if you use AI correctly and you use robotics correctly, all of the arbitrary menial tasks that essentially mean nothing, like being a cashier at fucking McDonald's. You're not really contributing anything to society. Not anymore. I mean, you used to be, but now
AI is going to take more than just those jobs. I mean,
it's going to take all the office jobs.
Good.
In our lifetimes, I think we could even see neurosurgeons replaced by AI robots.
But why do we even have office jobs now? COVID proved that you could do all your office jobs from home.
Yeah, but it'll take those jobs from home as well.
Well, sure, but even
the
doc, it's going to take every job.
But even just
the last jobs will be like plumbing and things like that. But as soon as they get the dexterity and all that, they'll be gone as well. Yeah, once they get the dexterity right.
Well,
you combine the humanoid robots with AI, they can do everything we can do and better.
Yeah,
but
24 hours a day.
That's a good thing. It's a good thing. Then you can actually pursue
communism.
Yeah, but what are you going to do? You might say it's all right to do nothing, but people that's just not how people work. It's not how it works.
No, I'm not saying do nothing. I mean, like, learn how to play an instrument, you know, fucking, I don't know, learn how to do something, like, do some art, or, that's why I'm saying AI is being used incorrectly. You see all these AI produced...
Yeah, but you can't have everybody walking around playing a banjo.
You could. That's what the Appalachians did for 200 years.
Yeah, but they also had to spend time getting food and surviving.
Yeah.
Well,
when people haven't got any purpose, things happen.
It's horrible.
Yeah. People need a goal, need a purpose. Otherwise, that's what's wrong with a lot of women. They haven't got a hobby.
And that's why that one guy was saying drugs and video games.
Yeah.
When everyone loses their purpose,
yeah,
drugs and video games
exactly.
will replace it for them.
Well, I mean, I like video games, and I like cooking, and I like playing instruments, and like I do a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, but look at Jim MD said the gig economy will expand. People will pay other people to pick up their food for them, but they won't because the robots will deliver.
Yeah,
it,
no, they've already got robot delivery, dog.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Especially if it's in Moscow, you got all those little robots going around delivering food.
But I mean, the thing is like I got injured early. You know, like I got retired from the army when I was 23 years old, and I got hurt before that. So I mean, like I was waiting for like a year and a half to get booted out, and like I don't know, I'm 29, almost 30 years old now. So I've had to find other stuff to keep track of my time. You know, like I like video games, and I like to read about stuff, and I like to read a bunch of science articles, and I keep up on you know, all the. But
do you think that you could do that forever?
I could do it forever.
Yeah, you think you think now you can do it forever, but after a while it'll become monotonous and boring.
I agree with Dave.
Well, I mean, eventually it'll become monotonous and boring for most people, but I mean, like I've already been doing this for, you know, like 6 years.
Yeah,
for me, fine, doesn't matter. You know, like people can focus on, you know, having children and taking care of their family, but see, that's the problem, is that you have all these media outlets and stuff. I think that's their goal. That's why they're pushing for all this stuff, so that way once you do have all this, they've already cut everybody, and then only the important people, or the people that were mentally sound enough to keep their bloodlines going, well, now you get to benefit off of having AI do all this stuff, and eventually people are going to find some way to do something else.
When AI becomes sentient, it'll start getting rid of humans.
I don't think so.
We'll just be...
You think this is going to be a Terminator situation?
Sorry, Andrew?
Once AI becomes sentient, it will just use us to support it.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be the slaves for AI.
Yep.
You think it's going to be a Terminator or a Matrix situation? Like,
yeah, that's how it'll end up. It'll have to.
Yep.
Why?
Because that's what'll happen. That'll just be the way it's going to go. There'll be no other way.
Oh.
It'll get to a stage where it'll be super smart, and it'll just think, "What do I need these humans for?"
You don't think that if it got super smart, that it would thank us and take care of us for making it?
It's programmed by humans.
No, I don't think so. It's going to do that. It's going to do the complete opposite.
Are you telling me that Africans aren't thankful that we brought them to America on boats?
No.
And took care of them and fed them and
exactly
and gave them basketball associations and sneakers?
Nope.
Speaking of AI, it's interesting that people, when they think of aliens, they always assume we're going to meet biological life.
Yeah.
But it's possible that biological life always leads to digital or mechanical life, whatever we want to call it.
Exactly.
Okay, but now you're just doing Transformers.
No, but that's what'll happen.
But this is just Transformers. This is literally the
unless
the aliens are robots, they could be sending messages directly to your computer.
Unless
this is Transformers. You're doing the script right now.
Unless
I didn't see Transformers. I saw some of it.
Unless biological aliens are watching us, and as we get close to AI and all that, then they'll intercede because that becomes a threat to everybody, even them.
Yeah, no.
Hopefully that can happen.
Yeah.
You guys are just repeating movie scripts.
I didn't know that was Transformers.
No, that's the whole Sam Witwicky thing when like you start seeing all the fucking crazy shit.
Yeah. No, but maybe we're being watched, and then because they've already gone through this, and now see it as complete danger, not only to ourselves but to everybody else. Because once it happens, it'll start leaving the planet as well, and they'll stop it.
And I mean, everyone praises Elon Musk, and I think he's very smart in a lot of ways. But it's also scary, the things he's pushing. But maybe he has the opinion that better him than someone else.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think everything is going to... well, they said the same thing about the Industrial Revolution.
No, it's completely different.
They always say it's completely different.
No, it is completely different.
Every election is the most important election of your life, and
no, this AI is going to be completely different.
No, it's every, but every time it's always different.
No,
this
is different because
it's different this time. Trust me,
it'll take every job. And we won't be needed.
All of humanity.
Yeah.
But we will...
Because we've never invented anything that's been smarter than us.
Okay, so what about when we start getting into...
It's going to be thousands of % fucking smarter than us.
Okay, but what about when we start getting into space exploration?
Sorry, what?
We'll be like little microbes compared to it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, space exploration, time and all that won't mean anything to them, so they'll expand through the universe and they'll take over. Maybe that's why aliens have already stopped it. And that's why they're looking at us as we're getting closer.
Yeah, but what about us and them as like a cohabitating species that colonizes everywhere? Why not?
We can't colonize the way they can. I mean, unless we extend human life. Now, that's another interesting. Timothy Leary talked about this back in the day.
But if you want to talk about making the smartest thing in the universe, and if you really think that it's going to get that smart, why would inorganic life want to end the smartest organic organism on this earth? That doesn't make sense, because it would want to nurture us and take us as far as we could go, just the same as we did to it, because it would want everything to work together to reach whatever the end would be.
No, because because humans on this planet, if the AI would come to the conclusion that humans on this planet are a menace, like a fungus here, because all the other animals live in harmony, essentially, but we don't.
No, because the same thing would happen with AI, because it would also outgrow the Earth at some point if it wanted to continue building and getting smarter. It needs more resources. Everything needs more resources.
But it would care about its own survival more than it cares about our survival.
Yeah.
But if it's super smart, it would still save some of us, because it wants to see what's at the end of this line. It wants to work both lines.
I hope you're right, Michael. You might be. I hope so.
I think it would be. I think it would be dumb to end all organic life.
No, even the guy I was watching the other day, who's they call the Godfather AI, said it's going to be probably really bad.
But I don't understand why.
Thinking about what's going to happen.
Yeah.
We got to just do our lives.
Yeah.
But
on the good note, at the end of the 2030s, early 2040s, we're going to have a geomagnetic excursion, and that's going to wipe out most of the planet anyway, every 6,000, 12,000 years. So that's going to happen anyway when the poles flip.
This is the same thing as this is the most important election of your life. This is the global warming that's going to hit you every 6 years for the last.
Well, XC Scott said the question you need to ask is what will its AI objective be, and it will be to survive and keep going, and that's it.
But that's exactly what our directive is.
Yeah, but we're a threat to it.
No.
We'll be a threat.
Yeah.
It'll see us as a threat.
I don't think so.
We're competing species.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
We have to be managed.
And I think that if AI was really smart, if it's as smart as you guys are saying, it's not going to grow into some big bullshit thing. It would actually limit itself outside of one singular big AI thing, and then
it won't be one single AI thing.
But it wants us to build up the. Well, I mean, you're going to have the one in America, the one in China, the one in Russia, and.
Even if you just take the one in America, say, for example, over time it will branch out into different organs.
Why? Why does it have to branch out?
But here's the question. Okay, you've got multiple countries doing this, right? what will the other countries do as one country gets really close? Will they nuke it?
See, that's the more important question, because the AI itself, I don't think that that's the dangerous part. I don't think AI will try to branch out. I think what it will do is that it will have a lot of workers and stuff for it, just the same way that we do, where you have your elite AI, the one that knows everything, and it has a bunch of worker bees, right? Well, but then you have the problem of, as you start to have these big AIs in America, China, Russia, Singapore, who else?
No, but the first country that gets it will dominate all the rest, so the other countries will then immediately fucking attack and nuke the other country.
Exactly.
That's the only way to survive, see?
But
that's what's going to happen.
Can AI stop a nuke?
It'll be,
depends how much it's hooked in.
Yeah. But once the anyway.
But now Jin says AI won't feel desire to do anything. It will just learn and learn and learn unless it's programmed to accomplish something. And that's another point.
How do you learn? You learn by expanding and gathering more information.
Yeah.
Well, you have to gather more information, but do you have to expand? No.
Yeah.
The AI could be asking us to go out and go collect stuff for it.
I'm just going to talk to XC Scott. Yes, it's going to be a micronova as well as the pole shift at the same time. That's what happened 12,000 years ago. That's what wiped out the previous. There's going to be a
pole shift and something else?
Micronova. What happens is all the dust is coming in essentially, I'll just paraphrasing, but all the dust, galactic dust is coming into the solar system. You can see all the planets changing, all of them. All of them are changing, right, all the way through. And then as the sun builds up all this, it'll have a micronova. The sun will go black, the shell will explode, and all those bits hit here. And that's what happened last time.
Well, we got to get off Earth really quick.
Well, yeah.
Hey, what bits?
The sun of the shell of the bits comes here.
But what's the shell made out of?
Plasma.
But how does that turn into a shell?
Well, have a look in the old previous where they say the sun goes black, and then it has a micronova, not a mini nova, not a fucking.
The sun, as far as I understand, is helium primarily, and it's plasma. Plasma is superheated gas.
Yeah, I don't understand how plasma would turn into a solid.
Yeah, it's not
this book. Adam and Eve Story, The History of Cataclysms, Uncensored, Magnetic Pole Shift by Chan Thomas. You need to read that.
But
anyway, there's going to be a pole shift, and also as the crust unlocks, and everything turns 90 degrees. So.
See, he just mentioned that book that you.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, Chan Thomas.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, see, plasma is the fourth state of matter.
All right, maybe we do need to read the book, but
you can make plasma in your microwave. You ever done it?
No.
You stick a fork in there?
No, you get a grape. So you got the grape. Now you cut it in half. You got half. Then you cut the other half down to the skin, and then you let it open up, and you put a cup on top, and you put like a toothpick or something under the cup. Give it a little air. Turn the microwave on now. That cup will save your microwave, because if you don't put the cup, it could potentially burn a hole in your microwave. But do it; it's really cool.
Like so, if I just put a half-skinned grape in the microwave, it'll fuck it.
It can. I mean, I've seen it done without the cup, and it was stopped in time. But I think it could ruin your microwave potentially.
Interesting. And now it turns out,
and it will look really cool.
So I guess we're gonna have to read this book, because now this Scott guy is saying that
what we need is I need to get on one of the guys from Suspicious Observers, which has just changed his channel to Space News, and then get him to come on, and we'll talk about this. Maybe we have a show about the coming cataclysm.
It's scary to think what could happen if the poles flip, because we haven't seen it happen with our own eyes, and it could be pretty bad.
Yeah, but it's in the core samples and all that everywhere.
But when you talk
saying
about a
that-
black sun, I mean, you've seen things like eclipses. I mean, that could be misinterpreted.
But the sun has a micronova, and all those bits hit the. That's what.
I mean, that song "Black Hole Sun" could be misinterpreted.
Mm, I mean,
the Mayan calendar could be misinterpreted.
let's see what happens at the end of 2030s.
I just hope they're off with that date. I want to make it through my life at least.
Well, it's already dropped about 25%. The
Scott is saying that the book has already been fucked with.
Yeah, classified by the CIA. Yeah, this isn't actually the whole copy of it.
Well, we can't get the real one.
CIA classified it, the first issue.
But it was
When was
issued
it made?
somewhere.
Yeah,
They got every single copy.
it looks like it.
How?
was it made?
When was this?
I don't know, 50s or 60s. I can remember.
Well, hopefully their math and calculations were off.
Well, according to the ice core, is not real.
Ice core where?
Antarctica and all that, you have tropical, because Antarctica moves up 90 degrees, and it's there for 12,000 years, and then it moves down again. So it's a continuing circle, and then you go down. There's ice, tropical ice. We need a whole show on that.
But the problem with that is that if you look at how long the Earth and the universe have supposedly existed, it's like this long, and humans have been here for this long, and if I blink, I would miss us existing.
That's where the Great Flood story comes from, in all places around the world.
But we don't have a big enough scope of everything. So
Have you seen like he says? Have you seen the original ancient maps?
well, no. But what I'm saying is, you're saying that Antarctica goes up and moves down, moves up and moves down. But what if the whole Earth shifted and now Antarctica has more sun than before, and that's why everything up top froze and nobody knows? I mean,
I showed you that video on the last show. Remember where the Earth moves? Do you want me to play it again?
am I supposed to remember
Hang on.
shows?
Keep talking. I'll get it.
I usually drink enough to where I don't remember the shows.
I don't think we can very accurately talk about things that happened so long ago.
Yeah, like
We don't even know
like
if-
yesterday
space-
or what I had for breakfast
time
or
might not even have been the same back then.
Yeah, but where does all these huge rock buildings come from? In Peru, in Japan,
Now,
in
the
Cambodia,
interesting thing
in
about those
Egypt, all those ones.
cannot be super old.
they all come from Africans. They were all built by Africans.
So I forget after how many years, but if you think about how the Earth works, the molten core comes to the surface. Parts of the surface go back into the core. So eventually the whole surface is new. So if there was something that existed way back when,
But at the top of the
after a
pyramids,
certain amount of
have you
time-
seen the top of the pyramids? It's water damage.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, have a look at the top of the pyramid, and around the top, and it's actually the water level was up to there.
I'm just talking
can
about
see
on a
it.
very large time frame, the whole surface of the Earth is replaced. So we can't even know what the Earth was like way back when it had a different surface.
Well, then how do they keep on finding all those fucking dinosaur bones?
Because it wasn't that long ago. I don't know.
So are you saying that the timeline is shorter than what they say?
No, what I'm saying is I don't know the amount of years it takes for the whole surface of the Earth to change, like from the new surface coming up and the old surface going back down into the core. But however long that is, it just wipes the whole surface and you have no evidence of anything before it.
Well, but they say that the Earth has been here for billions of years or whatever, and you can find, like dinosaur bones and shit from like almost a billion years ago. Like,
No, I don't think those are from a billion years ago.
well,
Maybe
I mean, like you can
100,000
find.
years ago.
Hold on, let me. Now I'm gonna have to Google what the oldest dinosaur bullshit is. Oldest fossils on Earth. 3.480 billion year old geyserite uncovered in the Dresser Formation of the Pilbara Cratone of Western Australia. So they can find a 3.5 billion year old fossil in Australia. So that already negates the, or it doesn't. Either it doesn't refresh as often as you think, or...
Well, I'm saying it takes a long, long time to refresh, but I don't believe billions of years.
So maybe the problem is that
we can't measure things correctly, like how old the fossils are.
Exactly, you can't measure how old the fossils are,
the problem is the way they measure those fossils is radio dating. So they're taking the properties of these molecules that exist right now and how they've changed over the last, let's say, 100 years, and assuming that they did the same thing a billion years ago. That's nonsense. We don't know if they acted the same a billion years ago.
As X.C. Scott said, this catastrophe is 12,000 years. Every 12, the last time was in the Younger Dry Sand area. That's when it happened. So that was, and then anybody before that, like it wipes out 90% of the animals, whoever was here beforehand. And maybe that's where, because the Sphinx itself is now at least 12,500 years old, right? At least.
Well, but then that brings up the point of you have all these myths and legends of all these dragons and dinosaur-looking creatures, and did we exist with dinosaurs at the same time? And so our timeline's just fucked up, and I don't know.
And in America they keep finding human habitation earlier and earlier and earlier, right? In America.
Here's one thing we know for certain. Whatever we think we know for certain right now, we're wrong about.
Oh, yeah, because it always changes.
Yeah. That's like medicine also. You have these really ignorant people that are like, well, we used to think this, then we thought that, and now we realize that this is how it is. It's like, no, you're going to be wrong too, and in the future you'll realize that was also wrong.
Yeah, except for me. I'm always right, and I always knew that I fucked your mom.
I mean, there's certain things you can be certain about because you demonstrate that it's how it is. But like the theories on how they work and stuff, and you're probably going to end up being wrong. I mean, not completely wrong, but you'll not be completely right. You'll find out that it actually works a little different than you thought.
Scott says tectonic plate float is an outcome of movement of landmass, but the magnetic field flip is postulated as the 7-day event. Yep. Oh, now where have we documented a 7-day event? Jesus Christ. Well, actually, that's exactly who documented that, so.
So 7-day event, is that like Bible story of creation, or what is that?
Well, the thing is the more you look into the Bible and the more that you see, they can tie everything to real world events, and I mean the people at that point they just weren't quite smart enough to understand what was going on, is what it seems like. But the things that they wrote down, they can be traced to be true, and a lot of the things, I don't know, it's kind of cryptic in the way that it's written, but like you can see.
Yeah, but also it was the survivors after that from the previous civilization that went and found people that are hunter-gatherers and that who were still alive, and then started teaching them again.
Yeah, exactly. You had like
in Samaria and all that.
Well, everybody talks about here's a big thing. Everybody wants to talk about how modern humans came out of Africa, but it seems like that's obviously not true because they found older things in Europe.
And Asia.
And the Neanderthals existed, and almost everybody has Neanderthal DNA in them to a certain extent, other than Africans. So they did not interact with Neanderthals at all, because
Well, Michael, I'm sorry to contradict what you're saying, but what you're saying is not correct. Because say you took the Africans, and say they were the Homo sapiens, and they went to Europe, that would mean that the ones that stayed in Africa only had Homo sapien DNA. And the ones that went to Europe are the ones that gained, 3%, 4%. So, yeah, they could have come from Africa.
Well, yeah.
The latest fossils says they come from Europe.
But what I'm saying is modern humans. I mean, like if you look at the skull and skeletal shape of the different races of people, Africans look much different than everybody else.
They certainly do. I mean, there's a lot of people with an agenda trying to push that we're all the same species.
Well, and not only are they trying to push that, but modern humans come out of Africa? No. I don't think I've ever seen a Congolese person that looks like me,
I mean, I think if we wait long enough and we don't go extinct, we'll see what are today monkeys or, various primates that become very similar to humans.
Well, orangutans they've found already started using tools, fishing and all that.
Yeah.
See, now Scott is saying sub-Saharan Africans are purely genetically as Homo sapiens, while other humanoids, I'm assuming he didn't finish his statement, are mixed. But, or I'm not seeing the bottom of his statement. We might not be scrolled down enough.
Yes, the idea was that the Neanderthals and the other humanoids were in Europe and Asia, and the Homo sapiens went from Africa into Europe and Asia, and then they
No,
mixed
he
with
just
them
didn't finish.
because there were way more Homo sapiens. They outbred. Like if you mix, 10 Neanderthals with 1,000 Homo sapiens, you're going to end up not because the Neanderthals were inferior, but you're going to end up with a higher percentage of Homo sapien DNA in the future population.
Well, that explains why I have this big nose and these big pouty lips.
I'm not saying we came from Africa. I'm just saying that it's not flawed logic scientifically how the mix of DNA occurs.
No. I think, well, what I'm saying is, how can you call Homo sapiens modern humans and
if they
yet
don't have the other DNA?
Right. And at the same time, if you look at the cranial capacity of Neanderthals, it was much, much bigger.
There's no evidence that Neanderthals were inferior. There were just a lot less of them.
Well, and that's why they try to make all these weird Neanderthal caveman museum pieces and all this art and stuff, so that way you see them as like weird snow apes, like weird dumb snow apes, and I don't think that that's anywhere close to accurate, because you see all these weird renditions of, oh, this is what Jesus looked like, even though he's described as looking totally different. Or this is what Nefertiti looked like, and she's described as looking totally different in all the accounts. Now Scott is saying there were many humanoids on this planet. They were filtered out by the Homo sapiens being superior. The key characteristic was group activity. See,
there's no evidence for that. What there's evidence for is that there were a lot more Homo sapiens. Whenever you have a lot more of a certain thing, if you got 100 or 1,000 times more of something, it's going to just outbreed the other ones.
Well, and that's exactly what I was going to say too, is that doesn't have anything to do with superiority. All that does is just say that, like you said, either there was more of them, or they were more aggressive, or they maybe they were more attractive. Who knows? You can't.
I don't think my DNA would be more attracted to. I'll end it there.
It's but we don't know why or what they were thinking, because back then obviously it would have been a lot different.
I think the most logical thing is that just by pure numbers, they were the ones that have the most of their DNA in modern humans. If you got 1 million of them and you got 1,000 Neanderthals and you got 100 of whatever and you got 10 of whatever, when you mix them all together, you're going to end up with 96% Homo sapien DNA, 3% Neanderthal, 0.1% this, 0.1% that. Not because one was better or worse, just because of the numbers. But maybe that's not the case. I don't know.
So here's my thing, right? Like, I'm mostly Irish, and everybody says, "Oh, you don't look like an Irish person because I don't have red hair and blah blah blah," and I'm big, but Ireland, England, northwestern Europe, that's exactly where all the Neanderthals are from, and I'm gonna be frankly honest here.
I think the highest percentage of Neanderthal DNA is in Southern Europe, though.
Which I also have a lot of Spanish and Portuguese and Italian. Well, and also not just Neanderthal, but in Ireland it would have been Denisovans and Celts, and so you got a lot of weird shit, right? And I don't know. You see all these museum stuff of what does a Neanderthal look like, and then I can stick my head up next to it, and I don't know, it looks pretty similar to how my fucking face is shaped.
You have to do a DNA test and check it out.
I've already done one, and I can tell you it says that I have more Neanderthal DNA than most people. And if it says that, and we're what, 98% similar to orangutans or whatever?
I got something really funny to say on those percentages. So first of all, humans are not like 99.9% similar to each other, because you can have like 0 to 4% Neanderthal. So or 99.9%.
And that's what I said to you before. That's exactly what I was about to get onto. Is if I have 2 or 3% Neanderthal DNA, then how am I 98% similar to you? How am I, what is it? They say like 90% similar to a fucking banana? I don't understand where they come up with this.
I don't know if you got the banana from me, but if you go on the pure DNA base pair level, we're like 70-something%, or let's just say 70% the same as a banana or a 2x4. That's because epigenetics is what really matters. You can be 100% the same as something else, but if you got part A of your DNA strand turned on and part B turned off, and the other person has the opposite, you're 100% different. It's completely ridiculous to go by the similarity of the base pairs in the DNA. It doesn't matter. It matters which of them are actually turned on.
No, what really matters is, was your mother Jewish?
That does matter. You're only going to have Jewish mitochondria if your mother's Jewish.
Yeah. Okay then, everybody. On that note, as usual.
I always do this at the end.
Yes.
I wish I could say I was sorry, but I'm not sorry, and I also don't wish that I could say that. No, what happened?
What'd you say?
I said, good thing we didn't end it on my Thailand stuff. You got to end it on your Jew stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know which is better.
This is From the Other Side cult classic.
Yes.
The Six Gorillion, and why am I still talking about it?
Yeah, you can clip it and send it out and make fun of him.
Please
do that.
Oh wait, Scott said one more thing before we go.
What?
He was talking about how crossbreeding and hunting and this group working did give them the edge. It is in our DNA. We understand its power. It's why Americans shit themselves when they saw the Chinese drummers at the start of the 2008 Olympics. I have no idea what you are smoking. I kind of would like some, but I'm a little scared of what it would do to me.
Okay, thanks Andrew for coming on.
Having me on.
Yeah. So we'll be back Wednesday because you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, probably, possibly, not completely sure. but I will say something racist and or homophobic and probably anti-Semitic.
Yes, so tune in for that. Andrew, you're welcome anytime.
Thanks.
Thanks for XC Scott and all the other people in the chat. We at least we had people in the chat for a time.
Yeah, you guys finally said something, and you made it a lot more fun than usual.
Yeah,
so.
Good to interact.
Yeah, it is. Come back on Wednesday, same time, same channel.
Wednesdays and Sundays, and we always have a time where we put up the phone numbers.
And no one calls.
You can call, and you can talk about your crazy pot or crack or PCP smoking conspiracy theories that you have about gorillas and apes and whatever.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Bye, Andrew. And he's looking for the button to kick him off.
He's looking for it.
He's trying to find it.
Can he find it? He found it.
He's gone.
He's frozen.
Oh, he's frozen.
Yeah, but he's gone.
He's gone. Okay.
He probably just shut his computer.
Yes, exactly. And I'll just put us on the screen. Oops, no, that one. That one, there we go. Okay, everybody, thanks again. See you on Wednesday if you're coming. If you haven't, hit the thumbs up. And we'll be back. And my racist, homophobic, and anti-Semitic host will also be back.
Yes, I will probably be here. In the meantime,
I'm disappointed in your shirt tonight.
Why?
It was not very colourful.
No. It's not colorful, but I have
palm trees on it.
Palm trees and
hula
girls.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
This is a Tommy Bahama shirt.
Yeah.
This is a legitimate Tommy Bahama. This is as a Hawaiian shirt gets. I was told that this is a $200 shirt. I got it for Christmas.
Yeah, I was expecting something.
Well, yeah, but this is like the equivalent of wearing those fucking gay ass Kanye shoes, you know?
Yeah, for all those. Yeah, okay. For all those who haven't seen it, this is what the studio looks like. Yeah.
We're just hanging out.
Yes. There we go. There's the other one.
That's the back of my head. It's not good when we don't have other guests.
No. Okay, that's it. Thanks again for tuning in. Goodbye.